This is delightful. I'm so glad we came here. Feel those vibrations at Camp Video Games. And we're back to Camp Video Games. Howdy, campers. This is Junior Counselor Sean, joined by his old pal, Junior Counselor Josh.
Hello, this is Junior Counselor Josh here.
Look, we've got some important news, campers. It's come to our attention that our juice box supply has been mistakenly mixed up with our boxed wine supply. So, if any of you campers happen to get some Franzia chillable red table wine,
save it for me.
Please return it to the cafeteria immediately. It's not clear how much we're missing, but if Camp Counselor Michael Mayonnaise doesn't get his glass of juice, which what he calls it, which is where the whole mix-up came in the first place.
Yeah.
He can't sleep at night.
Sleep at night, can't, avoid hitting children with sticks, forcing them to run around the schoolyard, screaming that they're happy little go-lucky play things. What am I saying? I got into the box wine. I'm so sorry.
We've got to keep Counselor Mayonnaise drunk, or we won't get raises.
Well, I drank my fair share of the juice, apparently.
I'm always drunk. Okay, here at Camp Video Games, we like to talk about video games, video game adaptations. We're on the very last episode of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. We've been talking about it for hours and hours and hours and hours. Josh, do you like The Legend of Zelda?
Conceptually as a series,
yes,
or this game?
I hate having to clarify sometimes. Just say yes or no.
Yes, because this feels like a yes and situation.
Oh, because we're trying to be funny here. Good. I'm glad we haven't been I haven't made you talk about something you didn't like this entire time.
I do get self-conscious of am I any different than some Marvel nerd by doing this?
No.
Some guy who just worships at the feet of Disney at the age of 35 or whatever.
We've given fair criticism to this game. We've pointed out parts of it that we don't like, and we've been especially critical of the cartoon series. I would say
own 0 Funko Pops.
Yeah, same, dude.
I don't think I've soy-faced once the entire time we've been recording this.
That that phase passed over me. I never understood the appeal of Funko Pops. Anyway, look, campers, I hope you're ready for a ride. A wild one. Back to Hyrule, baby. For the last time. For now. Until we decide to go back.
Until they make a goddamn Zelda movie or something, which hopefully never happens.
Yeah, it's going to be Jason Statham's going to play Link.
Unless it's Hayao Miyazaki's dying opus that he does. If he and Shigeru Miyamoto agree we're going to do this together on our deathbed.
And then they double suicide.
Yes. May there never be a Zelda movie, I declare. I hope. I will melt down every screening of it in defiance if one happens outside of those parameters.
That's a bold promise. Attention world, we do not need a Legend of Zelda movie. We just need more games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And here's what I'm really excited about finishing Breath of the Wild is after we record this, I'm going to go to my local retro video game store. And I'm going to buy a copy of Tears of the Kingdom. They also have new stuff. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to disappear for 3 months.
Yeah. I finished it about 36 hours ago. At 120 some hours of gameplay. I am having post Tears of the Kingdom depression, and I feel Nintendo should have been mandated by the government to set aside funds for the mental health of people who finished the game, and how we return to the real world.
It's a good depression. Like, I just had a really wonderful experience, and
it's like
now I need to reflect on it kind of depression.
What they were reporting on when the first Pandora came out.
The first Avatar?
Or it's the first Pandora. The first Avatar.
I was about to bring that up,
About how you can't go to Pandora.
Yeah.
I can't live in the world of Tears of the Kingdom. I have to go back to the god dang real world.
To Cincinnati. Sorry, let's dox you. What's your address? Okay, look, campers, I know we're coming in hot. We've dedicated a lot of time and energy and love and blood, so much blood, to the Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, ritualistically in a sacrifice.
You know, I was hoping if we got that pentagram just right, we'd get a few more subscribers and a few more patrons to our Patreon. If you want to go join us over at patreon.com/campvideogames, we've got commentary for every single episode of the Legend of Zelda animated series. You can watch it in real time. That's been recorded with us. If you like that, it's there for you. Thanks to everyone who has contributed already. Today, Link is going to fulfill his destiny. He's going to... He's the pig slayer. The
pig slayer and the pig's lair.
Yes. Wow. Oh, okay. It's like the arcade game Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
You know, that fun animated thing. If you say it right, it just sounds like Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
Dude, is that not...
I think that's the point.
That's the joke. Nice.
Sean's melting down right now. His brain is split open.
It's good.
The third eye sees all.
I'm floating right now. It's weird. Look, campers. We don't have a script. We have notes, but it's hard sometimes to put into words. Just like I had a weird moment last night, like talking about Josh's post Tears of the Kingdom depression. I just beat Breath of the Wild for what I assume will be like it won't be a while until I return to this game. Not because I dislike it or I'm sick of it, but because I know Tears of the Kingdom's next. And it's not like I'm saying goodbye to Hyrule. It's just I'm saying goodbye to this chapter in Hyrule. And it's exciting. It's a little cathartic. There's a melancholy in the air, but there's also just those so many good memories.
Yeah.
And that's what video games are for. It's about having a good time.
My post Tears of the Kingdom depression is the same as my initial Breath of the Wild depression. That sense of like, I'm never going to get to do this for the first time again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if I return to it, I'm gonna know what's around most of the nooks and crannies and corners, and like the surprise and delight.
Yeah.
Can never happen again.
In a video game, the first time I had that feeling was Final Fantasy VII. When it first came out for the PlayStation. Like, I played it, and upon the final boss fight, and then the after cinematics, and just thinking like, I never get to experience that for the first time again. I never get to feel the way this made me feel. Like, there'll be like glimpses of it, and just like it's that's how good of a game Nintendo has made time and time again. They didn't make Final Fantasy VII, but you know what I'm getting.
They very much did not.
So. Okay, here's what we're talking about today. We've got some DLC. We've got some Lost Memories. We've got Hyrule Castle. We've got Ganon. We've got some ground to cover. So, Josh, you were going to lead this discussion for the DLC.
Yeah, this might be a big one. Everybody just strap in. There's a lot to get through.
Yeah, hold on. I'm putting my racing goggles on.
So yeah, I've most recently played the DLC because in my playthrough I went ahead and I went through and replayed it for the third time. Sorry, I'm fighting my cat right now. Who? Oh, that one hurt. That one broke skin. Anyway, so like content wise, I'm not gonna do like what we've been doing, where we go through kind of beat by beat, but I'll run through the process of it as best as I can recall, and that you start with, when does it first open? Is it when you get the Master Sword? When you first get offered the DLC? I do not recall the first moment. That might be it. But it's when you finish all 4 divine beasts. I
believe that there is a prompt after the 4 divine beasts. Like once you warp for the first time.
Yeah, the first time you warp after the 4 divine beasts, you walk out. Zelda interrupts you and is like, "Hey, I know I told you to get to me as soon as possible, but like, if you just want to go check out the Shrine of Resurrection." Just, I don't know. There's a vibe out there. Just go back to where you've slept in a pile of goo for 100 years. So you go back, and the first part is like, they could have just skipped this. It's annoying. It's tedious. You get the one-hit obliterator.
Yes.
And you like replay the Great Plateau on like hard mode, kind of, in a way. So you have to clear out multiple camps of enemies.
Yeah, with the one-hit obliterator, let's take one little stop on that, because that's an interesting, weird device. That's it kind of looks like I would first describe it as looking like a lyre, like the ancient stringed instrument. But it's more like a pitch.
It's like a
tuning fork.
It's like a quadrant instead of a trident.
Okay.
And it's very short.
Yeah.
It's a short one-handed weapon. Because I think it's got a prong to represent each of the divine beasts on the end.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So like you have to clear out a camp. I think there's maybe 4 of them. That each time you clear out a monster camp with it, you have to do a shrine. And the reason this is so tedious is you also are a one-hit kill during this entire series.
Yeah.
So
I say cool, you say that sucks. So.
Yeah. Well, it's some of it is like just dealing with like load times, and shit. If it's just like, oh yeah, I was doing my strat, and then all of a sudden something I couldn't see came up and killed me from behind.
Sure.
It's very frustrating. And then you're like, oh my god, I gotta reload this and redo everything. That's frustrating. And the dungeons were easier this time just because I've done them a bunch, but they are for like the entire DLC, they kick up the difficulty of the shrines. I don't know, a notch or 2 than what you've been doing. So after each camp you do a shrine. And if you want to see some fun, you you can go to unfortunately this is like a separate Patreon. The Carl's Manager Patreon has my playthroughs. Maybe we should just put those on the Camp Video Games Patreon too.
Throw them in the hat, man.
It's just a link that we can put in the Patreon.
That'd be good. I think people would appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll put that on the Patreon. That if you go to my playthrough, there's this camp up in the snowy mountains that like I don't know, it just drove me insane because it was full of the choo-choos that blow up big ice clouds.
Oh,
so if you get touched by that ice cloud, you're dead. So I just kept trying to like rain napalm from a ridge over the side. And then I'd be like, okay, they're all cleared out. And then I'd soar in and there'd be like one choo-choo that just like sneaks up behind me and goes poof. And then I'm dead.
Rain napalm with like a fire rod? Or?
I just was like, this is the last thing I'm doing. I'm blazing through every fire or bomb arrow I have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ice choo-choos, yeah, those are getting frozen is such a pain. Just like because then you've got to sit and like think about what you did wrong.
Well, this is instant death.
Oh, right, that's right. In normal gameplay, though, right, you have to like wait for Link to thaw out, which is fun because you'd have such horrible like organ damage.
Yeah,
if you were just like instantly frozen. It's like the T-1000 in Terminator 2 gets covered in liquid nitrogen and it gets shattered. Like that could happen to your body when it's frozen. If you're like frozen solid and then you like hit it, like. Your blood can like shatter.
That's how I want to go. I don't want to think about being goo.
Hell yeah. Well, then you're goo after you melt, though.
Oh,
but then you're dead goo at least.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I rained hellfire on this place like 5 or 6 times before I finally finished it. So yeah, once you finish all that, you're like, oh, cool. Like, do I get to keep this thing? And they're like, no, put it back.
Right.
And then they're like, all right, now what we're going to do is like make you double. It feels like doubling back through a lot of stuff. So each region that had a divine beast, there's like this column thing that raises up, and it has the location of 3 puzzles you have to solve for the region.
Yeah.
You solve the puzzle, then there's another shrine, and then so like,
Yeah. Would you describe it as busy work?
it's busy work, and you get like a little bit of story payoff, which I think when we go through the memories, I think it'll start with the story bits you get.
Okay.
We'll see if I can recall that. Once you finish I think it's 3 shrines for each region, you refight the Blight Ganon with only items given to you from like that region. So
Yes,
you get like that region's weapon, you get a limited supply of food, and ammo and durability.
I remember playing that last year because I ran through these last year, so I do have the recollection where it's like a memory of a fight.
Yeah, and so you're playing like the memory of how the hero fought it, which is like, that's a cute sort of narrative idea, but at this point you're like, I've done this before. Yeah. I'm so used to just maxing out my attack with either like a banana meal or putting on my barbarian armor or my phantom armor, so it's I don't know. Those bosses weren't great in the first place. I feel like we've admitted to this before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got some more boss grievances to discuss today as well.
But oh dear Lord, playing this on master mode was a absolute nightmare. Because you have
believe you.
such limited resources, and if you don't go quick, then their health would start refilling. So you could just almost like not quite soft lock yourself because you can just get killed, but you can be like, oh, out of resources. I gotta start over.
Broke all my weapons.
Because I like missed a cycle of like the pattern of how I wane this guy's health down. So yeah, you do that for each region, and you get like an expanded memory of the champion from the region.
Those are the breadcrumbs that would propel a gamer like me to do this kind of stuff, where I want to see these and get the full sequential order, which we're going to cover. But that's like, I like the narrative progression that you get out of it, or at least expansion.
Yeah. And throughout this, the way they tie it in, which is nice, is it's called the Champion's Ballad because Cass, the guy with the squeeze box we've talked about before, he's also on the same sort of tour because he's trying to recall his like master who taught him's lost song about the champions. And I for me personally, I think I was too tuned out by like the tedious busy work of it to enjoy the narrative that was being played out, especially after I compare it again. I beat Tears of the Kingdom 36 hours ago, and my God, the subtle way that game plays its story out is so masterful compared to this. And like, that's just, for me, I think it's a problem of DLC in general. I hate DLC.
I agree. I think it's like this trend that happened in Hollywood for a while, where you could watch a DVD that had like alternate angles of a scene. Yeah. And it's only there for the DVD so that they could like boost sales. So you'd be like, see the scene from a whole different angle. Filmmakers hate that shit. Like, why like if I'm a director who has a very specific like scene planned out, and then the studio is like, yeah, you gotta put a camera in the ceiling so they can see what they're eating for dinner. Yeah. And like, it's just like, fuck, man. Like, I'm trying to tell a story that like requires like very specific pacing and like, having net and video games with DLC. That seems to be the same trend now, where it's like, we gotta sell them the game 3 different times. Like, right. You sell them the base game and you only get baby food there, but I guess I'm a little hungry.
I'd like to know how frequently the DLC is designed before the game's even launched.
Yeah.
If they're just like, yeah, we've already designed it, we're just gonna make it this separate download pack of assets.
So it comes out the like launch day.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It doesn't really, and like in this case, it adds to the I forget the fancy word for it, but the fact that like the story is, Link, I need you to urgently rush to save me from this 100-year battle I've been in, and then like being interrupted to be like, by the way, why don't you go help Cass remember how this song goes?
Yeah,
spend 30 hours on that.
It's cute. Cass is. We've talked a little bit about Cass. He's a fun big blue bird. But yeah, I like Cass specifically because he wears like Link's original tunic color green with like there's like he's like a Link fanboy of some degree. Like he doesn't. I don't think he realizes he's talking to the Link when he's talking to you, because you're a century old. He doesn't expect you to be alive. But yeah, in terms of NPCs in the game, Cass he's a pretty cute guy.
Yeah, I like him.
I like his intentions.
Yeah,
he's just a groovy songwriter.
Yeah, but
historian /
kind of kills the pacing of whatever story you have going here.
Oh yeah, it's completely nonsensical to like when you put the stakes in a real life scenario of what's going on. Like Link should be speedrunning this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's filler to some degree.
And then once you finish, like when you refight each Blight Ganon, you get kind of a pretty OP reward where it like basically doubles the power of each sage, or what do they call them in that? Not sages. Champion. Like each champion's like Mifa's Grace now, I forget if it just like you have it twice before it runs out. They all like refill way faster. So Ravioli's Gale, however, having that, so it's like you can almost use it constantly.
Oh, that's
it's
dope.
Very nice.
I am not mad at that.
Yeah.
Like I love that ability so much, where I wish that was the first divine beast that we were supposed to fight, so we could just get that as soon as possible. I even in gameplay sometimes, if I know I've used like the last Gale before it's time to let it recharge, like I will just be like, I'm gonna go make a sandwich and like just leave the game running, so that I can, once I hear that sweet voice of that rude bird, Rivali's Gale is now ready. He says it so condescendingly.
He says everything condescendingly.
Yeah, he really does. Like even like I feel like when you use Rivali's Gale, like his ghost comes and is he like lifting you up with his Gale, like I feel like he's like sneering at you while he's doing it. He's like, you cuck. Like you need me. Like
right. So all those little bonuses are nice. And you're like, wow, that's cool. I got all these upgrades. And it's like, hold up. We got one more thing. It's like a very, old Steve Jobs Apple press conference. One more thing. And so now you got to go back to the Shrine of Resurrection. And this part, I think, I don't know, if they could have cut all the running around in half somehow or something. This part is kind of worth it. Like you do one final proper dungeon in sort of in the way you would expect from like a classic Zelda game, where it's like there's kind of like 4 quadrants of it that each represent kind of like the tools and the environments you went through in each of the 4 regions to build this like interlocking thing to open this one big door of this like final divine beast-esque space. And when you get to the end, have you ever finished it?
No, I don't believe I did. I don't think I've ever actually obtained like the Master Cycle or finished this. I don't know. I was like, I get it. Like we're having a lot of fun here. We're really we're just look at all the different things you can make this Hylian do. But what are you getting at?
The final boss is so you fight a final boss, and it's much better than the final Ganon fight. I'm trying to remember.
Is this the monk?
Yeah,
Maz Kosha?
Yes. I wasn't sure if that was actually his name because that sounds so much like the comedian's name,
Moshe
Kasher.
Yeah, is that a reference to him?
So you fight him, and it's a lot more engaging. It's a little more of like a swordsman battle than just like, oh, figure out how to dodge these big attacks from this spider monster that we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
So that's it is a more fun fight, and it is well earned. I just kind of like wish it felt less like busy work to get there. And then your reward is this just bonkers, silly, makes no sense to be in the world motorcycle, a Sheikah motorcycle that is so fun to get around on.
Yeah.
Once you have it. There's one like little design element that's kind of a waste, that it has gas. It can run out of gas and you have to refill it, but you can refill it with literally anything. So like you can just put 5 apples in it and it's refilled.
So we're on DeLorean logic from Back to the Future. When it's at the end of the first one, when after they came back from the 50s, right? Then Doc shows up at Marty's house from the future, and he's like, "We gotta go to the future, Marty." And they just like put like garbage.
Yeah,
into
this thing
the
runs
DeLorean.
on garbage now, Marty. I don't know what it sounds anyway. So yeah, you get the Master Cycle, and then you're free to go get the other 850 Koroks you have left.
Yeah. You know what would have been better in a game that really thinks like, and I know like you're gonna just be like holding back. Well, Tears of the Kingdom did it, but like, you know what would have been better than a Master Cycle? Breath of the Wild, a Master Chopper. Give me a helicopter. Like, give me something that lets me fly, because I don't do that besides with Rivali's Gale. And like, Breath of the Wild is all about climbing mountains and going up and down as much as left and right.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is like the Master Cycle can ride up mountains pretty darn well. So it feels almost like an admission that like, oh, by the way, now that you're probably 100 some hours in, like, we'll admit the climbing and the horse riding, a little tedious, wasn't it? You know?
So they're doing Skyrim horse logic here. Or like, have you played much Skyrim?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the horses, they're amazing. They can just almost go like completely vertical on mountains.
Yeah. I vaguely remember trying to like climb mountains on horses and shit. So yeah, that's the gist of the like what you do in the Champions Ballad DLC.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have like queued up in our memories we're gonna like watch and comment on. I'm pretty sure these are included, all the story parts.
Cool. Yeah, this is so we'll put a link to the original post where we got this from YouTube. But this is all of the memories that can be unlocked that we're going to watch in a second. With DLC included. That is correct. I want to talk just a little bit about in terms of gameplay, because we're going to transition over to the lost memories that Link unlocks in order to get the full story that happened before Link woke up, which is great. I mean, we're getting basically a whole other story that's been like hinted at as we play through this game, where our story, like as gamers in Breath of the Wild, is fairly straightforward, right? Like, go fight the big monster, save the princess. Then all of the intrigue and all of the actual like politics that led to what happened is parsed out in these like repressed memories that Link finds. Now, as a gamer going through and trying to find these lost memories, Link is referencing an album on a Sheikah slate, and you basically get to play detective. We've gone over this a little bit in terms of like you're triangulating using like visual clues to figure out where the picture was taken, so you can go there. When you've gone to the right spot, you'll find a glowing area. Link stands there, and then it like comes back to him in a flash. If you want some hints in game, if you don't feel like looking up, just like give me the coordinates, because you go to any like stable or settlement, and you're likely to run across Picango, the artist. He's a painter who if you show him one of the photos that Zelda took, he's like, "Oh, I've been there." Like, and he'll give you basic clues on how to get there. He'll tell you the region, or like, "Oh, it's west of, the castle," or just like little context clues, which is very, very fun to play for it. If you like playing detective. Now, Bikongo's a painter, and I took a look at his canvas because he's painting something different in every region.
Yeah.
I was at the base of Death Mountain, and I was looking at his canvas, and he's a horrible painter. It's like so cute and like amateurish, and like the sun is just a big circle with like deep like rays, and it's so funny that he's like, "I am the artist of Hyrule," and then he's like he might as well be like holding a crayon. It's really funny.
It'd be hilarious if he was just painting like big anime titties on Zelda.
He's just painting Zelda in a bathing suit. I'm gonna have a photo. I think I just figured out the thumbnail for this one, baby. I'm learning to use Photoshop for this, guys. It's fun. Although I did get paid to use Photoshop for a year, and it was like, you guys made the wrong hire.
Yeah.
I got a job. I got a pretty sweet like job, and all I did, I will not say the name of the company because that was like a bad call on their part for hiring me. I literally just showed them some memes that I made, and then I talked about the first time I smoked a blunt.
That's amazing.
And they're like, "You're hired." Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, let's get to the memories. Let's remember. So we're gonna. I think the way we're gonna run through this is us doing this in real time. So we're gonna play through a memory, and then if we've got some stuff to talk about with it, we'll take a pause after every memory and just kind of chime in.
And like, I'm sorry for like playing cutscenes. Also. Obviously, spoiler, a million spoilers if you haven't done the memories yet.
Spoiler alert, Link kills Ganon.
Yeah.
Or at least Calamity Ganon. I don't know.
And this is also a good opportunity to say, like, video versions of the podcast go on the Camp Video Games YouTube page. So episodes like this that are more visual, if that's your thing, you can go there and watch it. And you can actually see the cutscenes instead of just the audio with us.
Campers, we're still finding ourselves.
So, all right, let's queue up this is somebody on YouTube that you said you'd link in the notes. Has allegedly put these in
chronological
order, starting. I think this is gonna be the first one's gonna be like the Rivali's Champions Ballad. Clip that you get.
Link is getting Zelda is getting the crew together, basically. She's assembling the champions.
Also, I apologize. I don't know how balanced the levels are. Hello. Wait. Ravioli, you stink.
He's like inventing his signature move. It's like Dragon Ball Z stuff. Like trying to invent the Kaioken.
Not enough. I must stay in the eye of the whirlwind. Must push myself harder.
I cannot stand this man.
He's just trying really hard right now. Got some snowy attire.
It's rude
Zelda.
to eavesdrop.
She's got so many little costumes in this.
My apologies. I went to the village and I was told I could find you here.
You have need of me.
Yeah, the squeeze
to
box is
defeat
what tells
Calamity
us Champions
Ganon.
Ballad.
Nice.
To slay the beast once and for all. It will be my great pleasure.
Thank you, Rivali. If we work together, I'm certain we'll be able to defeat...
However,
God,
What a
that's the princess, dude.
He's like, first, check it out.
Talk to her like that, even though it's supposed to show.
She's just trying to.
She's nice. I like this.
Yeah, me too.
This one in Tears of the Kingdom. That melody is very champion like the champion. That's the Rito training ground.
I know I play the biggest part in helping that... that little knight with the darkness-sealing sword, correct? Well, if he loses his confidence after seeing me in action, don't come crying to me.
God, you suck, dude.
If I was Zelda, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe someone else. So yeah, this is Zelda's like, I guess like they're at the 11th hour with the imposing threat of Calamity Ganon coming, and it's like when they had to get Bruce Willis and Steve Buscemi in Armageddon. They're like, we need our ragtag crew of like construction workers to destroy.
Yeah, they
the
were oil
asteroid.
rig workers.
Yeah.
There's a celebration of our beautiful oil rig workers.
Yeah. American excellency. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. This is Champion Daruk's song. So I think it's all the DLC memories seem to be first in the chronological order.
count
You
me
need
in,
an
tiny
excuse to
princess.
really achieve all these.
I'm the fearless
I like that he calls
Daruk,
her Tiny Princess.
and if Hyrule needs my help, I'll gladly lay down my life.
Thank you, Daruk.
Not sure if it's Calamity Ganon's fault or what, but I hear monsters have been attacking people more than ever lately. Times like these, you shouldn't leave the castle without a horde of mighty Gorons to
That's
watch
right,
your back.
dog.
You sound like Father. He's assigning a knight to watch over me wherever I go. I hear the top contender is the most accomplished swordsman in all of Hyrule.
Huh? That could only be... Huh? What the...
So I guess at this point, has she not met Link?
These days.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Is someone being attacked?
Oh man, I love Daruk so much. He might be my favorite champion. He's just so naturally likable.
Yes, dude, that's great. That was a fantastic little piece of animation where he scoops one up and swings it towards the camera.
And uses it as a projectile.
Yeah, that was a little bit of, that was an inspired
No
little
monster
shot
stands
there.
a chance when fighting me, the almighty Daruk.
Yeah, I want that guy watching my back for sure. I was just thinking, if Link is like Hyrule's most like accomplished swordsman, how many people do you think he's killed? Like, to be the best swordsman in a kingdom,
yeah, good
like
question.
you got to be a killer.
Oh, this is very cute.
Seems our friend here was the one being attacked.
Oh my God, Daruk saved a
Precious
puppy.
boy. You
Like,
saved
what
his
a
life.
wet dream. Oh my God, yes.
That's really good.
Oh yeah, Yunobo's got something in common. They're
Really good stuff.
he's got to be
Good
Yunobo's
riddance.
like ancestor,
Stay
right?
safe. I'm sorry you had to see that side of me.
Oh,
As a kid, dogs always chased me. I still panic when I see one of those critters.
I never imagined the great Daruk would have a weakness.
So tell me, princess,
Yes?
I like this sort of like
Calamity Ganon isn't,
salsa
some kind of a
samba
dog monster,
arrangement
is
of
he?
the like the Goron music.
with like the drunken trombone.
Yeah. Yeah, much better friend than Ravioli.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, Yeah, that's Daruk.
Daruk is the
fantastic
best.
dude.
Just the best. Such a big fan of Daruk.
I don't know. I think these ones we're probably going to be able to get through pretty quick. Not like they're all just establishing. Oh, here's the relationship between Zelda and so.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's nice to see these characters interact because they're all dead when we play the game, and to like see them at their like with the joy of life in their eyes.
Yeah, because like they'll also get each a scene with Zelda for the Divine Beast.
Yeah,
like when you have entered it.
Yeah, that's right. Or if you see the champion, or if you like you see. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the only interaction we'll get between like Zelda and champion, and then the rest is really focused on Link and Zelda's relationship.
Yeah, their travel diary.
Yeah. So let's go on to Mipha.
The street shark.
So, Princess, may I ask who the other chosen champions are?
Goron Vigilance, Daruk. Rito Confidence, Rivali. Gerudo Spirit.
Right, so these might not
Urbosa.
be in order if we already have
And
Urbosa
also-
on board. I don't know. But
The Hylian with the sword that seals the darkness. Link.
love Mipha's theme.
Oh,
And I love the iconography of the Zoras that's been consistent since Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
It shows up a lot in this.
Glimmery.
Sidon.
Sidon!
Little baby Sidon.
Oh, Sidon.
Mipha. Perhaps he is still too young to swim up this big waterfall.
One day, Princess, I must leave him to face my fate with Ruta.
Sick.
That's so sick. So she's like surfing down the waterfall on her feet. It's so dope.
The logic of why they can swim up waterfalls is like,
Because they're fish people.
because fish people.
Oh, his little rosy cheeks.
You can get a feel for it.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Is he riding her back? Yeah! Oh, just like Link does on Sidon. Oh. So Sidon could have been Link's brother-in-law.
I guess so.
Sweet Sidon, should fate ever part us,
I'm going to die in this game, Sidon.
I'm counting on you to protect our beloved home from harm. Understood?
Do it, Sidon. Come on.
I believe in you. Now, shall we try one more time?
Yeah! That's my boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy. It's kind of wild that their bodies are just like, it's like their head is an entire fish, and then their body is just like a human body with like flippers. It's kind of wild looking. Like just seeing that like profile of Side, I'm like, oh, these are very weird creatures.
Yes, absolutely bizarre.
And thinking about the Zora from like how they were represented in the early games, where they're just like creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
And like how that would probably not translate very well to this, or like they just look like spooky monsters and not like literally fish people, like people with fish heads.
yeah, it speaks very well to like the Ghibli-fication of the Zelda series and
Yeah.
how much they sort of intertwined styles and the degree to which I'm absolutely here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had like I don't know. This is probably like any like true anime heads are gonna roll their gigantic eyes at me, but I never realized like the similarities of, to make a face more cute, you just make it look like a cat. Like I'm a cat person for sure, and I saw this like side by side. I was like, here's the profile of a cat's face. Here's the profile of like Ash Ketchum or whatever. You're just like, oh my god, they are cats. Everyone's a cat person.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like I feel like so much of that comes from just a few of the like really influential names in anime being cat guys.
Yeah. Is it just because like
I don't know who besides like Miyazaki, like I know FLCL, which was like the remaining people from Gainax after Hideaki Anno was gone. Whoever like led that was really into cats. There's like a lot of cat.
yeah.
There's a cat that they use his like beloved cat like recordings of it as the meow for the cat.
Oh, that's
Like,
great.
Yeah. So that's part of I think it's just like a few big influential names are like making people look like cats is cute.
I'm gonna put on I'm a Midwesterner who's very rarely left like the Midwest hat real quick. Are cats a more popular pet in Japan because apartments are smaller and like, you know, they're a bit more like tightly clustered, like, you know, the people per square foot or, you know, whatever per city block is like staggering compared to American, like where we really like our extra wide spaces.
Give us our space to let our big dogs run.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're a nation of big dogs.
Yeah, but like maybe cats are just like a more practical pet than dogs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna speak too heavily to that, but I just like the logic tracks.
Yeah.
I don't have data on it, but anyway, enough cat talk. Let's see what Urbosa's up to.
Ooh, yes, I'd love to see what Urbosa's up to.
Princess of Hyrule, I accept your proposition without hesitation.
Yeah, Urbosa rips.
Yeah.
Not only are they planning to resurrect Calamity Ganon, it seems the Yiga clan is also after our treasured heirloom. You have my
That
word.
seems like a bit of an
I won't
afterthought.
rest until the Calamity falls.
Be worried about the Thunder Helm.
Well, I mean,
Dear Chief Urbosa,
the fact that they want it means that there's
On
got to be
behalf of
something
Hyrule and its
important
king,
about it
I
that they
thank
could
you.
use it for.
I think it's maybe it's like a more immediate threat to the Gerudo in that, like, oh, they could neutralize us because our power is wielding lightning.
Yeah.
I've never seen you so serious,
Especially when you see how
Urbosa.
easily Urbosa
Oh
can
my.
dispatch Yiga
I
with
can't
her
say
attack.
the same.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you rarely smiled, my little
I love
bird.
that she calls her little bird. That's so
Urbosa,
cute. They
I
gave her
feel
a
like you've
nickname.
called me Little Bird before. I was wondering where you got that name from.
Halt and face me.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah, I am. Like,
Hell yes, Queen.
Yeah, I'm
Unlike
into
you
Urbosa.
traitors, I prefer to fight my enemies head on. Do your worst.
Aren't we all?
Oh man! I love that they use the same sound that Link gets when he gets the shield bash.
I love the close up on her face when she's having fun.
Urbosa!
Out of respect for our princess, you may keep your lives.
Oh my god, that is such a baller
Now
move.
go!
We're watching this and I'm like so excited right now. Watching this, I'm like, yes.
You asked me why I call you Little Bird. When you were but a small child, my dear friend called you that with the sweetest smile that ever graced our land of Hyrule.
You mean Mother?
Anytime you play Zelda's Lullaby,
It was
I'm
10 long years
Near
ago.
tears.
Your mother had just left this world, yet her little bird still spread her wing, became the beacon of light Hyrule needed. Sometimes I forget myself and get lost in the past.
It
So
seems
that's
like
really I don't know. Really interesting to talk about Zelda's mom.
That's what I wanted to get into. Is
Yeah.
that there are some references to her mother. We'll probably get them all in these memories too. Like I don't know, like if she's ever.
That's it.
I feel like the king brings up the mother at some point, like he's like chiding her about not being. We'll get to it or we won't.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. We get a full name for the king, like Bosphoramus, Rome, of Hyrule. Like, I think I got it right. Never a mention of Zelda's mother's name. Is her name Zelda too? Because it's like it's an inherited name in the royal line. I think every princess has to be named Zelda.
Or is it that like once you accidentally land back on the name Zelda, it's like, oops, you've started another legend, and now the kingdom's gonna be corrupted by a pig man.
Oh man, be like, we got a list of names you shouldn't name your kid. Adolf. What are some other like you just can't name a kid this name anymore? Osama. I guess. I mean, there's still a lot of, in the Western world. I guess that'd be a taboo name, but it's still pretty prevalent. I think.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, that's right. The alleged president of the United States. I am joking. He was definitely the president. Let's keep going into it, man.
Yeah. Well, the choice of the little bird name is like, where have we seen? I guess maybe this is like a callback to Skyward Sword in a way that they lived in the sky and they rode on birds. Maybe that's supposed to be some sort of like allusion to like, oh, and the princess we always thought of as our little bird.
Yeah.
Like,
in a Game of Thrones, we meet a character called the Hound, and he's like a really grizzly. He's not a knight, but he's like he's a man in armor with a sword. He's like a mercenary bodyguard, but he calls Sansa Stark little bird in that too. I just, it's a fantasy where people have swords and shields, so I have to make that at least connection.
Yeah. And I was thinking about Zelda's Lullaby. I guess okay, it did debut in A Link to the Past.
Yeah,
I'm not
it
crazy.
did.
I thought it I was looking it up and I was like, this came from Ocarina of Time now. Yeah, when Link meets Princess Zelda for the first time, and then whenever you rescue the maidens, you're hearing the melody of it, and it's been with us ever since. And it just destroys me. Anyway, let's move along.
Well, actually, I would love to say something about Urbosa too.
Yeah.
She's so okay. I never made this connection that she was Zelda's mother's friend. Mm-hmm. Like age wise, maybe she's about the same age as Zelda's mother would have been.
Yeah. And all these races seem to have generally a longer lifespan than Hylians.
Yeah, I don't see anybody vaping in Hyrule, so I think their lifespan's just a little bit longer. Urbosa, she's just such a powerful woman, and that I never realized that she was the chiefess of the Gerudo too. Like, of course, like all these. Well, no, actually, I'm actually curious. As Link's going through Hyrule in the game, Riju is the chiefess of the Gerudo. She's a descendant of Urbosa. Sidon, being
they're the prince and princess.
Yes. I guess I'm just trying to understand the power dynamics in all of the tribes, because I assume the old owl, the head of the Rito Village,
Yeah.
He was probably in charge back then too.
I
assume.
And Rivali was
he's just their chief warrior
or something.
Yeah.
To him.
I don't know. I think
because we'll see. Never mind. Just Tears of the Kingdom will establish, I think, some of that hierarchy a little more.
Cool.
when you get there.
Cool.
So yeah, that being said, let's move on to. I think this wraps the Champions Battle. This
Cool.
next one.
Welcome, warriors.
The
I'd like
Hyrule
to
Castle
thank you
theme.
for
Very-
joining
So
me
sick.
here today,
Heard that.
and
just linked
for
in
your
past as well.
bravery in accepting this fateful task. I officially appoint you Hyrule's champions and bestow upon you this sacred garb. That blue is a symbol of the royal family, one that has been passed down for countless generations. Those garments you now wear were all crafted by my daughter, Zelda. Zelda,
She's a
So
master
dramatic.
I
seamstress?
trust
Okay.
you with
Oh, that's pretty
tasks
normal
only
for
a
princesses.
daughter
Yeah, I
of the
guess.
royal
Got nothing else to
family
do.
can fulfill.
Well, it's part of like
Lead our
charm school kind of thing.
champions,
Like you got to be good at all the
And
like
together,
ladylike.
protect
uh,
our kingdom
habits.
from the threat of Calamity Ganon.
So
I tell you,
now what?
those
Yeah, I guess we all got to kill ourselves or something.
This is the Sheikah slate, eh?
Dude just took it straight from her
It is.
hands.
Apparently, there are more uses for it than we originally thought. Sadly, we've yet to decipher all of
Did
its
we talk
secrets.
about how it's designed like a Wii U
The
instead of
princess
a,
showed me something strange recently.
a Switch?
Somehow it
The,
can
well,
create
yeah, because this was the
true-to-life
Wii U's last game.
Right. Yeah. I figured if we talked about that, or I just
would
thought
love
about
to
that,
see
or
it.
somebody saw somebody else talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. The Sheikah
Princess.
Slate is a Wii U.
May I ask a special favor of you?
Actually, thinking about that, like, okay, the Wii U was a
All right,
huge
this spot should
failure
work nicely.
for
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo. And in this, they're like, I don't know what it's good for, really.
Your
Let's
eyes on
figure
the
out what this
Sheikah
Wii U is good for.
You can take pictures.
Daruk, can you crouch down a bit? You're as big as Death Mountain.
Paya. Or no, I'm sorry,
It's, Pura.
Pura.
With the
Yeah.
glum face, princess. Give me a big smile. Rivali, move your tail closer to the group.
Fine.
Nifa, you look so
I
tense.
think this might be
Deep
the only
breaths,
time Pura
okay?
talks in this game, and then they got the same voice actress for Tears of the Kingdom. Somebody
Stay
correct me if
just
I'm
like
wrong,
that.
but
Here we go.
Yeah, she gets some sound effects at least when you
Sounds
talk
familiar.
to her.
Click, snap.
You get to like hear her like go like ah, or like like little like
that's
like
very cute.
oh my god, yeah. One for us, one for what is it? One for money, one for fun.
So yeah, nice little. I like Ravioli looking terrified, but nice little emotional resonance to end your.
I like that it's Zelda going to like all these champions and be like we're bringing the squad back together.
Yeah.
And they're like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
That's basically you summed up all the clips we've watched so
Yeah,
far.
it's so good.
So there you have it. That's the Champions Ballad story that happened before the regular memories and the scenes with the Divine Beast begin. I don't know. Whoever made this video has titled this next part "Subdued Ceremony."
Yep.
Let's
Not-
see what the subdued ceremony is.
Not everybody has a spell check.
I believe this will be that one that's in the center of
Hero of
Hyrule Field.
chosen by the
Yeah, this
sword
is the
that
easiest
seals the
memory to
darkness.
find.
Yeah.
You have shown unflinching bravery and skill in the face of darkness and adversity, and have proven yourself worthy of the blessings of the goddess.
This is
Hyla.
kind of like how you do
Where
the
the
like
skyward bound,
the
drifting
just for
time,
friends
steeped in
wedding
the glowing
after
Oh my
you do the
God,
big
yes.
ceremony. It's kind
Yeah.
of like what this
Sacred
scene
blade
is.
forever bound to the soul of the hero. We pray for your protection, and we hope that the two of you will grow
I
stronger.
have a question
together
about
as
Zelda's
one.
outfit. It looks like she has like some like incredible abs with like the pleating of her like belly thing. It's just like, is it supposed to look like she's just ripped under there? Like I don't think she is. Like I don't think she's like Urbosa level muscular, but like the pleating, like it looks like it's like a quilted padded like doublet that she's wearing. And yeah, it's just it makes her rib cage and her abs just look like totally toned.
Yeah. The princess regarding this boy.
Oh, give it a rest. That boy is a living reminder of her own failures. Well, at least that's how the princess sees him.
Yeah, she's got like some like Jesus Christ abs.
Well, I mean, she is a Christ-like figure.
Yeah,
gotta give her the abs.
So that's Link getting like anointed.
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch them back to back to get to see the doubt start to set into everybody and how it like creates this little bits of tension. Like they're all kind of annoyed with each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like with Urbosa between Rivali, just be like, give it a rest, man. Like, shut up. Like,
yeah,
I get
I'm
it.
So fucking sick of you.
You're in love with Link. We get it.
Like, why don't you just bang it out with him already?
Okay, but also, yeah, the realizing it was like, oh shit, like we're being brought together because it's about to get real.
Yeah.
Like we're like, it's not a good thing that we have like a nuclear contingency. Like,
yeah. And then like we'll also start as we get into the further memories, we'll start to see why Zelda has the fear and the doubt, I think, that's spreading through the team. So I don't know. Let's keep rolling.
Yeah, yeah. Rivali's flap.
Like a flop thing?
I'd like to see him fap.
I don't.
Just feathers going everywhere.
Impressive, I know. Very few can achieve a mastery of the sky. Yet I have made an art of creating an updraft that allows me
maybe
to
the
soar.
thing I thought was the
It's
Champions Bell
considered to be
melody is
quite the
Rivali's
masterpiece of
theme.
aerial techniques, even among the Rito. With
So don't yell at me in the
proper
comments.
utilization of my superior
But please do
skills, I
leave
see no
comments.
reason
Yeah, leave them. Just
Or
don't
you know
yell
what?
at me.
With
Be nice.
Let him have it.
Now then,
I don't know.
my ability to explore
Just
the
need those
firmament
metrics.
is certainly of note. But let's not, pardon me for being so blunt, let's not forget the fact that I am the most skilled archer of all the Rito.
Like I don't even enjoy watching.
Yet despite these
In my
tributes, it
playthrough, I was
seems
just
that
like
I've been tapped
bitching
to
through this whole
merely
scene.
assist
Yeah.
you.
And I still
All
am like,
because
God,
you
shut
happen to have that
up,
little
dude.
darkness ceiling
There's
sword
nothing
at your
likable
back.
about you.
I mean, it's just
Yeah, I guess I could be like impressed with his like the
You think you can
audacity
prove
of
me
Rivali
wrong?
of like
Maybe
just
we should
completely
just settle
ignoring
this
all
one-on-one.
niceties and
But
his
where?
like I mean even
I know.
I
How
forget
about
what
up there?
like what Zelda said, but when she was like listing off all the champions in the squad, she's like
You
the
must
confidence
pardon me.
of
I
the
forgot you
Rito.
have no way of
And
living
it's just
up
like
to that divine beast on
overconfidence.
your
Like
own.
I'm sure we see that he's extremely talented, but let's not forget Rivali. You got killed, baby.
And also
Well, I guess Link did too.
add in like I think like the context of the game is they're the least really under threat from their divine beast, and they're all just like whiny babies about it. Like their threat from Valmetto is just anxiety.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, having a corrupted like giant flying robot bird is like not good for the economy
I
or
guess.
for like morale.
But it's not actively doing anything to them like the other ones. Like the one in Death Mountain shooting rocks at them.
Yeah, Valrudania.
Yeah, they're
Varuta's the biggest threat, I think.
Varuta won't stop fucking raining.
Like she threatens to like flood Hyrule.
Yeah.
And like kill countless Hylians as a result of the overflooding.
Yeah. So
yeah,
the point
yeah.
is, Doritos, the confidence is not earned based on what I've seen in the text here. So anyway.
Yeah,
let's move
yeah.
on.
From here, we'll make our way to Goron City. Then, we'll need some adjustments on that divine beast so Daruk can manage it as easily as possible. He's figured out how to get it to move. However, it's apparent that we still have much more to learn. But to think that divine beast was actually built by people. That means we should be able to understand how it works and how to use it to our advantage. These divine beasts, so much we don't know. But if we want to turn back Calamity Ganon, they're our best hope.
He regrets buying the Wii U.
Tell me the truth. How proficient are you right now wielding that sword on your back? Legend says that an ancient voice resonates inside it. Can you hear it yet, hero?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, dude. So this is Zelda being like vulnerable for the first time now. Like she doesn't have to put up the front of a leader to the entire like champion crew. Now she's with her, like, you know, her Link is a confidant as much as he's a bodyguard, and I think it's really nice to have a confidant who is a mute, like who won't repeat the things that you have to say. I know Link's not technically a mute. He's being described as like a stoic samurai who is just like so devoted to his cause that he's got no time to talk.
And the funny thing is, like, when you factor in the way you can respond to NPCs,
he sometimes does like a talking animation.
Well, he does his animations, but like the actual responses you can give that you can then assume he's saying.
Yeah.
He's quite hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, he's a goofball.
Oh my God. Getting let's seal the deal. Yeah. Oh, seal surfing.
Yeah, he plays along. He's a goofy little guy.
Yeah.
But he's serious and solemn when necessary. The one detail I want to add here is when she mentions the voice inside the sword.
That's the exciting part.
You know what she's talking about?
She's talking about Fi.
Yeah. And like
we talked about it a little bit last Breath of the Wild discussion. But go ahead. I interrupted.
Yeah, maybe we already said it in that one, that in one or two of these scenes we're going to hear that voice carried over from Skyward Sword and lit up with like the light of Fi, that blue purple light of that annoying little whatever that thing was, blob person.
Like a demigoddess? Like, what is Fi? Like, yeah, I was kind of hoping Tears of the Kingdom would explain some of that, but because I can only assume that the reason Nintendo decided to remaster and re-release Skyward Sword for the Switch was first and foremost to address the motion control that people have complained about and all the pointless redundant menu pop-ups that keep happening. And they fixed all of that, but I thought it was really just because the story is so important to understanding, because like we could look at Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom as being a trilogy of sorts. At least that's how it's been kind of packaged for some, and just to reiterate, I still have not even touched Tears of the Kingdom. I've avoided spoilers.
120 hours.
I know we're sitting on very different sides of the same raft right now. But Fi is an important character, which makes the Master Sword an important character, because Fi lives in the Master Sword,
right?
Which is wild.
Yeah, I guess no comment. We'll keep moving.
Thank you. You're such a sweetheart, man. Also, just a note: if you're making titles for a video project, don't put like periods at the end of the title. Just it's a title.
Yeah.
It's not a sentence.
Also, don't put your drop shadow that far
away. This divine beast. I tell you what, sure is a blast piloting a toy like
yes.
this around.
Any scene with Daruk, I am just
Let those
on
other
board.
champions know
I want to
they
hug
better
him
eat their
so
ground
bad.
if they want to keep up with Daruk. Speaking of which, can you believe this view? Just look at all those delectable rocks sprinkled on those
Delectable
mountains.
rocks. I love that they eat
Mighty
rocks.
tasty. may not know a whole lot about this Calamity Ganon thing, but mark my words, I'll protect this land of ours to the death. Right, little guy?
Yes. He just pukes blood.
Hey, by the way, congrats on becoming the princess's appointed knight. That's a really big deal, protecting the king's daughter. No pressure. Seriously, though, the princess is a strong personality. So strong, she can't quite see the range for the peaks. Remember that, and you'll be fine. Huh?
I like the way he plays with like the language.
Everything's rock centric.
Yeah, and I made the complaint about the voice acting. It's like, it's fine. It's not top tier, but I think Tears of the Kingdom is pretty good.
Yeah, you think they got some feedback on that one?
Yeah.
All right. So what was I saying? That was a little strange. As far as I know, Death Mountain has been quiet for decades.
It's I don't know, like it's a little campy,
But if the mountain is
even for the
shimmering
setting
enough
in this
send out a
game.
bunch of boulders that size, then
A little chewing the scenery. Which,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, doing a scene with a silent partner, fair enough. I guess that's tricky.
I remember while watching through the end credits of the game last night, just all of the different localizations they had to do. You know, there's you feel all the different languages, which really implies that, like, you know, I assume that the Japanese like voice work is going to be top notch for Japanese native speakers.
Well, now I'm restarting in Japanese.
Let me just learn it real quick. But like, you know what I mean? Because it was made by the team and they had direct input on that. But then it's getting localized in America, in France, in Germany. I forget what other languages it got translated to. But you know, that just
I think,
implies
like Russian.
Cool.
And a couple. Did you say France already?
I did.
I don't know. Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a Spanish version.
But that implies like outsourcing, you know, and like having these localized teams do it, which is they're not going to get the full. They're not going to see the range for the peaks. Like they're going to only see the scenes, and they might not understand how it's supposed to be.
But that play with language is nice to like not use so much sort of literalism. I think that means like the translation was thoughtfully done to put in those sort of idioms and things like that. That like if you're going very directly from Japanese, they were in like Super Nintendo, where Japanese language just doesn't use metaphor quite as much like that, and is way less characters to say way more. And they had to squeeze it into like the text boxes. So like here they still have to align timing and like lips and stuff, and they still like went out of their way to like sort of more creatively write for each language.
I'm going to give localization a B+. Yeah. It's not all your base or belong to us. You know what I mean?
All right. Which one's next? These periods in the drop shadow. I have these little background guys. Anyway.
They're having a great time.
Yeah, they're having fun.
And this video has got a huge amount of views.
Thank you for putting this video together.
Yeah, seriously.
Creator.
Nothing. Just as I thought. It appears that this structure was designed to be exclusively accessed by the sword's chosen one. But designs can always be worked around. At least I hope.
She just needs to learn how to clip through the wall.
Inside?
Yeah,
I need to
can figure
activate
that
it
out.
somehow.
You just got to like initiate a shield surf animation while you've got like an arrow in your hand or something. I forget. Speedrunners rule.
Sick, dude.
I thought I made it clear that I'm not in need of an escort. It seems I'm the only one with a mind of my own. I, the person in question, am fine, regardless of the king's orders. Return to the castle and tell that to my father, please.
She's putting Link in a really awkward position.
Yeah.
Like, no, the king told me to do something. His crown is bigger than yours. Gotta listen to him.
And stop following me!
So yes, she's getting frustrated, and his just resolve his quiet resolve of like, I'm gonna be here is very, very nice.
It's so charming. Link is just like the ultimate good boy.
Like, this is the complete opposite of the one we've been talking about in the show.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, he'd be like, well, now that we're alone, Zelda.
Whereas this guy's just like, I'm just here for you. I'm doing the best to protect you while respecting boundaries. Like, just totally different. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a sweet boy.
Repressed, I love you so much.
Well, you certainly got here fast. I should have expected as much from the princess's own appointed knight. She was out on a survey all day today. Still as the sands now. So, spill it, boy. Have the two of you been getting along all right? It's okay, I know. Your silence speaks volumes.
That's pretty good.
She gets frustrated every time she looks up and sees you carrying that sword on your back. It makes her feel like a failure when it comes to her own destiny. Don't worry, it's not like you carry blame in any of this. It's unfortunate. She's put in more than enough time. Ever since she was a young girl, she's gone through rigorous daily routines to show her dedication. She once passed out in the freezing waters trying to access this sealing power. And she has nothing to show for it. That's the motivation driving her research. I'd be doing the same thing. She really is quite special. You be sure to protect her with your life. It's quite the honor.
Those are some powerful earrings.
The
Yeah.
night brings a chill.
We're all
probably
wishing
time to take
Urbosa
her
was our mommy, right?
No, she's like a cool aunt.
Or
Yeah, I guess so.
Urbosa! What was that? Did you feel that? Wait, what? How did you... What are you doing here? What's so funny?
So, what I like the most is that Urbosa like pranks Zelda. Like wakes her up with a scary thing. This just make I have a very specific memory that luckily got captured on video when I was a teenager. But I fell asleep in my friend's van. We were on vacation on a road trip, and I'm asleep in the van, and the rest of the guys are awake, and they decided to like pull the van onto the rumble strips on the highway, which then makes a really loud and like noise and feeling in the seats. So I'm asleep, and then I just wake up to like, and all of my friends do like, and they got video of me waking up like, whoa, because I'm a very dramatic. Like I wake up screaming sometimes just because I've got so many demons, but anyway,
That's great. Within the actual content of the scene, what I like is we've gotten our first hint that of why Zelda's frustrated and what she's looking for, what her role in this is, this sealing power, which if we've played past Zelda games, we know like Zelda always has this role of like Link wears Ganon down, Zelda seals him away or whatever. And she's frustrated that Link is he's the man. He's like, yeah, I got my sword. I'm good. I'm ready. Let's go, Zelda. And she's struggling to get her part down.
She feels like she's lagging behind because everyone else is in position, and she's still like, it's like I have a recurring nightmare where it's like, Sean, you've got to get on stage. You've got to play guitar with Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
It's like, I only know the intro to Stairway. I don't even know this shit. What am I doing?
You know what's funny is I had the craziest nightmare last night that I was like a stage manager for some massive performance.
Yeah.
And it was like I know the memory comes from Dr. Dre, I think, sitting down to play, I forget what song it was, at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he like sits at the piano and starts playing the...
Still DRE.
I think so. Yeah. And that, it was like that exact same setting.
Yeah.
And I was the stage manager. And I'm in charge of like Dr. Dre's gear or whatever. And he sits down and it's not, instead of a piano, it's a Fender Rhodes.
Sick.
And the keys are sticking when he tries to play.
Quick, Dr. Dre needs some WD-40.
And I just start losing my shit.
Oh my God.
Running around like, who the fuck reserved this? Who booked that piano and didn't fucking test it? Like, I'm just like losing my mind. Go to fucking commercial.
Oh my God.
So instead of being like, oh God, I'm the one like raining fury
Hell
on
yes.
people.
That's what needs to be done to get a production in like ready to go. Like you need a taskmaster, like enough of the nice guy bullshit. And but also flip side, if you're like, don't dehumanize people through this, but like, yeah, sometimes you need to yell at people to get shit done.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a nightmare or a power fantasy that I had.
Yeah. Well, how did you wake up hard or not?
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Folks, you got to learn how to run more effectively. Like the flappy arms is like you're gonna fuck up real quick.
Yeah, I saw some kid just running across a green light, like a walk light,
jeez.
The other day. I was like, and he looked like he's never run in his entire life. I was like, how do you not know how to move your body? Link does that.
Ugh, this is so good. This is Link being like the absolute like swordsman that like everyone loves. Oh God. Oh, his earrings the same color as her eyes.
That's it.
That was a quickie.
Yeah.
So that's the Yiga clan is really stepping up their assassination attempts now. That seems to be like their main function. They were gonna try to assassinate Zelda when she was with her Bosa, and now Link's like showing that like, no, like Zelda, you do need a bodyguard. We're about to go to war with the devil, like
the pig devil.
Yeah, and he's got some very devoted followers that are cunning, fast, deadly, like
and love bananas.
They're bananas for bananas. They found them so appealing. Sorry, that was a split.
I'm going to the next one.
I'm sorry, everyone.
That cut doesn't look too bad, actually. You're fine for now. But there's a fine line between courage and recklessness.
He's taking down multiple Lionels, by the way.
That's so sick.
As brave as you are, that does not make you immortal. It seems that not only is the frequency of these types of attacks
He's
on the
blasting
rise,
through waves
but
of
the scale
Lionels
of
and
beasts we are
Macabre.
facing is intensifying as well.
Oh shit,
fear
Blood
that-
Moon sound effects.
I fear that this is an omen which portends the return of Calamity Ganon. And, if that's the case, I'm ready to expect the worst. We'll need to make preparations as soon as possible.
Okay, so one thing that like immediately sticks out to me is if Link fought that many high-level Lionels, Master Sword would be completely like busted up at that point. Like weapon durability in this game is a real thing. And now when I see this type of scenario, I'm like, no, Link's like with just the Master Sword on him, like not a chance.
Yeah, maybe its power is different before it had to go back to sleep. Like it could be limitless at this point.
Damn, dude, I like that.
Yeah. So that one just seems to like kind of amp up the tension of like, okay, threat is over the line, and Zelda, you're still trying to figure your shit out.
Right,
So-
right. We're officially in code red.
Yeah.
Like monsters are like showing up in larger numbers, more aggressive than ever, and like that's not normal for Hyrule.
Yeah. So move on.
Yeah. It's fun. It's nice to see things amping up the way it is. They do a great job just like parsing out these little snippets of storytelling.
The flowers we have in Hyrule aren't just beautiful. They're also quite useful as ingredients for a variety of things.
This is like Link going to a pumpkin patch with his girlfriend. Where it's just like, all right, yeah, no, have fun. Like, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm into this. Okay,
no,
whatever.
Let's take the photo. Go ahead. I'll take the photo. Oh yeah, but he's like, oh yeah, I know I'm here.
Domestically yet. The princess can only thrive
He's
out
that
here.
royal booty.
Oh, is this the shot where everybody talks about her butt?
Yeah.
That the species will be
The
strong enough to
16-year-old
prosper
cartoon's butt.
on its own.
You roast in.
Is that what
Yeah.
I think it is?
God.
Look at this. I don't believe it, but I actually caught one. This delicacy is known to have very, very potent effects under the proper circumstances. Ta-da! Research from the castle shows ingesting one of these can actually augment certain abilities. We wouldn't be in a controlled environment out here, but with your level of physical fitness, you'd be a perfect candidate for the study.
Eat this frog, Link.
Go on. Taste it.
That's so good. Oh my god. Have you ever eaten frog legs?
I don't think so.
It's it's underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like frogs are cute.
Yeah, leave them alone. Go watch the Muppet movie. To get a sense of why we need to protect people from starting frog leg restaurants. Anyway, that one introduces the Silent Princess, which is funny. It's a fun contrast to he's the silent one and she won't shut the fuck up.
Oh my
all right?
god. I guess you could put it like that, yes.
No, it's just like nice to show like, okay, she's still having moments of levity throughout this process. Although that one canonically, at this point, these aren't canonically like, I think, defined as like, that definitely is the one that went after the last one, you know?
I wonder the thought process behind putting these together. I mean, it's not rattling any chains as to being like too incorrect. Like it feels right.
Yeah, no, it feels right, and like if you think about this in a chronological order, that can work the way I said. It's like showing like, okay, it's not all frustration right now, and it introduces the Silent Princess, which is symbolic, a big part of the game. It's part of the logo, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It doesn't really. It's weird that like it's like that scene. Is like she's like, I love this flower. It doesn't grow domestically, yet. I think she says yet. So it could be. I don't really know. I don't really get the significance.
I see it. It's like okay. After a forest fire, certain plants like are able to sprout because of the additional carbon that's like in the environment. Like certain plants won't grow unless there's been a fire. Mm-hmm. If I'm gonna just take a wild stab at like the significance of the Silent Princess, is that like they are the true indicator of when Calamity Ganon is going to return. When the planet needs to heal itself with this blue is healing, blue is Sheikah, blue is good.
Yeah.
And it's the Earth or Hyrule or whatever it is saying like we are about to hit it, and like I hope you're ready, because like I don't see it being actually a useful thing. I mean, sure. No, it's not even. It doesn't have any cooking properties. The Silent Princess.
It gives you stealth.
I thought there was something else that did that.
Lots of things do each of the things.
Sure.
It's also, to your point though, it's abundant in the 100 years after the world just trying to survive on its own.
It's the opposite of Malice.
Yeah.
It is a counterpoint to Malice. It's the yin to the yang. It's like with pink and blue being the opposing colors in this. That's my camp video games take.
Nailed it.
Trust the Mifa's touch.
I was thinking, this reminds me of the time we first met. You were just a reckless child. Always getting
I
yourself
like
hurt at every
how
turn.
immediately Mipha
Every
is so
time
much more physically
I would
intimate
heal
with
you,
Link
just as I'm
Touching
doing
him,
with them.
healing him.
than Zelda. Like
I thought it
they're
was
they're
funny
like
how
purposefully
healing a
very like
You looked grown up so much faster than I did.
very platonic, Link and Zelda.
I was.
He was not
always
hired
willing
to
heal
bone
your
Zelda.
wounds,
Yeah.
Even
And
back
Link
then.
is, you know, he's a very decent Hylian. He's just doing his job. It's got to be intimidating too, because she's the princess and he's just some Hylian.
Yeah.
So if this Calamity Ganon does in fact return, what can we really do? We just don't seem to know much about what we'll be up against.
Look at the
But know
I don't know,
this,
just like the relaxed
that no
way
matter
he's
how
sitting.
difficult this
It's
battle
just
might get,
his physicality speaks
if
volumes
anyone
about his
ever tries to do
personality.
you harm,
I would love to know who did the motion capture for Link.
Yeah.
Because they like they're telling their own story just through his physical, his how he emotes.
that I will always protect you. Once this whole thing is over, maybe things can go back to how they used to be when we were young. You know. Perhaps we could spend some time together.
And like the Zora princess always being in love with Link is also very funny to me.
Yeah, it's that's like, man, that's the first like real taste of like there being a romance between Link and Mipha.
I don't know, because I think people have talked about it.
Yeah, oh
before
sure.
that
But
point.
I mean, in terms of like
Yeah.
what we're watching right now, like, and they just did so much so quickly. Like they've known each other since they were kids. They were old playmates. Mipha's always like, Link is the one who's going to get hurt. Mipha's the one who's always going to be there. It's my pleasure. Like
Yeah.
it's incredibly effective.
Yeah.
They made a convincing love story between a mute and a fish.
Yeah.
And like they did a good job with it.
Mipha is the Tifa and Zelda is the Aerith.
Jeez, you're completely right. You're completely right.
That's hilarious.
Man, I'm gonna cry. Because everyone's got their own, everyone's team. I'm team Tifa all the way.
I am team Aerith is the sort of right choice of like Cloud's real girlfriend.
We'll get to that in season 14 of Camp Video Games.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be like that's gonna be a big series. We're gonna have to do a lot of mental and research prep for.
Yeah. Oh shucks.
Well, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out winter 2024.
I think we can plan around that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's move along on Zelda.
Yeah. Good stuff though. Love to see Mipha just speak her truth. She's like, I think we should spend some time. And she's just winking.
Your path seems to mirror your father's. You've dedicated yourself to becoming a knight as well. Your commitment to
Link doesn't have
training
parents.
necessary
No, he
to
never has
fulfill your
parents.
goal is really quite
An uncle at best.
Yeah, Link's
see
an
now
uncle's
you-
boy. Link is just spawned from the sky and given an uncle by the goddesses.
You realized that you just weren't meant to be a fighter. Yet the only thing people ever said was that you were born into a family of the royal guard, and so no matter what you thought, you had to become a knight. If that was the only thing you were ever told.
I don't think she's talking about Link.
I don't either.
Different path.
Oh, let's just keep running through that. I mean, Link is good at practicing his sword, and Zelda
Yeah.
has doubts.
Yeah, and you said it all. She's talking about herself. Duh. She's scared she can't do her thing.
Incredible. We're at a point now where we can actually control them. At the current rate, we'll soon know all we need to know about the Guardians and the Divine Beasts. And should Ganon ever show itself again, we'll be well positioned to defend ourselves.
What are you doing out here, Zelda?
was assessing the results of the experiment with the Guardians. These pieces of ancient technology could be quite useful against them.
I know that. They are essential to Hyrule's future, and our research demands that we keep a close eye on them. However, as the princess, you currently have a crucial unfulfilled
this is interesting.
responsibility
It's
to
like-
your kingdom.
When paired with the last one,
Let me ask you once more.
she's like
when
sort
will
of
you stop
saying like,
treating
I
this as
kind of
some
just
sort
wanted to be a
childish game?
scientist.
Absolutely.
And you're making me be this
Everything
weird
I can.
wizard that I
Yeah.
can't figure
I'll have
out.
you know
It's like
that
how,
you return
you know,
for
in
school
RPGs, certain
where I
characters are
offered
just
every
better
oath of my
suited toward
prayers to
different,
protest
like,
Now you are
Yeah,
here
you're
career
forcing me
paths.
into the wrong class.
Yeah.
Dedicating every moment you have to your training.
I'm a scribe, Dad. I'm not a
You must be
white
single-minded
mage.
in unlocking the power that will seal Calamity Ganon away.
I already am. Don't you see? There's nothing more I can do. My hope is that you'll allow me to contribute here in whatever way I can.
No more excuses, Zelda. Stop running away from your duty. As the king, I forbid you to have anything to do with these machines from this moment on, and command you to focus on your training. Do you know how the gossip mongers refer to you?
Jesus.
They're out there at this moment, whispering amongst themselves that you are the heir to a throne of nothing.
Look,
Nothing
they're
but
not
fear.
calling you Meatball.
People
I'm
are
not
saying-
calling you Meatball Zelda, but people are saying,
People are saying
you're
everyone
like
does.
a Meatball Zelda.
It is woven into your destiny that you prove them wrong. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
I've got a thought about this. Here we have, okay, this kingdom relies on the power of one woman at all times, like to repel the great calamity. It always, the princess, it's always the princess. It has to be the princess. If Zelda's mother was alive, I believe she would have had a much easier time tapping into her like goddess power, but because we have a man trying to tell a woman how to do a woman's job,
Yeah.
and he's pushing her like he would push like a son in some ways, or like, you know, just like he's pushing him like he's probably like he pushes himself, where he's like, you have to do it because it's your duty and you have to do the things. Whereas like I could imagine like the kinder nurturer side of the mother being like, Zelda, like, let's find what's stopping it, and like, you know,
Yeah,
like doing
yeah.
something. It's like, well, maybe if we try the power of love, or like, but where he's like, it's the power of duty and
Yeah.
fear and hatred.
Power of shut the fuck up and get back to work.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I really think is great about this is like, from a game design perspective, like this is the one you're most likely to find last
Okay.
because it's in Hyrule Castle.
Oh yeah.
And so like if you've like already seen all the others, you've understood what happened with the Guardians and how they tried to like wield them, and now it's like this extra like just like punch to the gut for like Zelda's guilt that she carries, that like she was on in one hand struggling like, I'm trying to visit the goddess statues and open my power, but like I'm really excited about the potential of these as defense.
Yeah.
And like so now she has this extra layer of guilt of like, I also was like championing the Guardians as like something.
So-
after you fought like through all the hardest areas of just like obscene just guardian attacks to get to this memory.
Have we made the connection that like the Guardians are basically Terminators? Like,
No,
right? I mean,
I don't remember.
I don't know how many times you've seen the Terminator movies, but like that was like Terminator 2 specifically was a movie I've watched maybe 100 times.
Yeah,
Like,
I haven't seen it a million times, but it is like one of the greatest movies of all time.
so, but like you think about what, like how the Terminators came to be, right? Like the military industrial complex keeps like making, you know, more and more advanced weapons. And eventually it's like, we don't even need soldiers. We've got these robots that'll do
Yeah.
our fighting for us. Then, you know, Skynet becomes self-aware and it does a huge like program shift where all the robots, then it launches nuclear weapons and creates, it basically manufactures a nuclear war between the, East and West. And then the Terminators are used to collect up the rest of the humans and to put them into work camps so that they can continue to build more and more and more Terminators. Right. That's exactly what's happening with the Guardians. Where if you want to make like the character parallel, like Zelda is not Sarah Connor, Zelda is Miles Dyson, the researcher who found the Terminator tech from the future in the 80s and then developed the Terminator, making that self-fulfilling time loop possible. I'm really excited right now.
You want to hear how scary this is playing out in the real world right now?
Yeah.
So I just came across this article on, I think it was just like a regular sort of like military news website.
Yeah.
And like, so it wasn't even like being critical of this or anything really. It was an Air Force general talking about why the way the military is going to use AI is going to be sort of like benevolent and work, and like why the US's use of AI in the military is justified. And his reasoning was, well, because ours is based on Judeo-Christian values. Sean's eyes just like,
what do you mean?
Lit up.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I know. I was like, this is one of the scariest things I've ever read.
I don't like that.
No.
I'd like to go to Hyrule, please.
Okay,
I'd like to stay in Hyrule.
Let's go back to Hyrule.
I'm so upset, man. Like, you get killed by a robot. It's like, God bless you.
An Air Force general. One of the top dozen, few people in the military.
I have to check my pulse.
Or so I've been told all my life. And yet...
This is the Spring of Wisdom.
The voices from the spirit realm,
I know it's the one up in like the
said
Okala
real power
region.
would develop within me.
Okay, there's another little
I don't
mother
hear
tidbit.
or feel anything.
And grandmother, that's fun.
Father has told me time and time again. He always says, quit wasting your time playing at being a scholar. Curse you.
She said,
I've spent
fuck
every
you,
day of
Dad.
my life dedicated to praying. I've pleaded to the spirits tied to the ancient gods. And still the holy powers have proven deaf to my devotion. Please, just tell me. What is it?
I love him.
What's wrong with me?
Look at him.
His little guard pose.
Yeah. What a nice boy. Like, he's just like, man, she's really going through it right now, but like my duty is to physically protect her first.
Yeah.
But he's still like,
He's still trying to emotionally
my
protect her
friend.
too.
Oh.
Yeah. He doesn't, it's hard to know like how to, like, there's no guidebook for this. I know there's like a strategy guide, but like for Link
Yeah.
navigating this like strange, like, because we've talked a little bit about like, the work personal relationship between Zelda and Link, and like he is right now, I mean, like he and Zelda like weren't just friends and then he got a job working for the family. Like, like they know each other because he was like assigned this role. Mm-hmm. And like their relationship starts at like the most tumultuous time in Hyrule's history. And to see how it developed, because I don't think they're that close, like in terms of like she probably doesn't know that much about Link. I mean,
Yeah.
she seemed to know that his father was a great swordsman at least, and said that, and like she's got some, she read his cover letter, I guess. But
well, they've at this point,
they're traveling.
They've road tripped all over the kingdom together.
Yeah, it seems like she's mostly doing all the talking.
Yeah.
So Link knows everything about her, but he's like, by the way, I bet you didn't know I have a middle name. Never asked about it.
Yeah. Let's keep plowing through.
I don't feel like I've been this critical of Zelda as a character since the cartoon.
Look, Catherine. He's riding Catherine.
Be sure to take the time to soothe your mount. That's the only way it will know how you truly feel. Your advice was quite helpful, thank you. And this little one and I are getting along quite well now.
Yeah, I don't really like the horse
At
riding
first,
mechanics of
I
this
wasn't
game.
sure
It's
if
kind
I
of
should
hard to.
outfit him with all of the royal gear. I thought maybe he should have to earn it first. But it works. He wears it like a true natural. I'm trying to be a bit more empathetic. Benefit of the doubt, you know?
I can't get enough of that theme.
See
It's
that mountain?
beautiful.
That's Mount Lanayru. It takes its name from the goddess of wisdom. Lanayru's decree is very specific. It says no one is allowed under the age of 17. For only the wise are permitted a place upon the mountain.
What a weird rule.
I always thought it was weird that like
What is a mountain rule?
to go to like Dave and Buster's, like it's not 18 or 21 to like go in unassisted. I think you have to be 24 to be able to like go to Dave and Buster's.
No way.
Maybe I'm wrong, but like I remember something like that. Or maybe the doorman just didn't like me. I don't know.
There's always the chance that
Maybe I'm thinking of renting a
moment
car.
will change it.
Renting a car is like 24 or 25.
Tomorrow is my 17th birthday.
Sweet little 16.
No.
So then I shall go and make my way up the mountain.
I can't imagine being that stressed when I was 17.
Yeah, well,
Like my biggest, well, I was, but
Yeah.
like about like completely irrelevant things in hindsight.
Yeah, you know, stress and suffering are all subjective to your experience. But so, like, up to this point, was she going to these shrines in vain? And she just found out, like, oh, I was supposed to be 17. That's why it wasn't working.
I think, I mean, she's when she was at the Spring of Wisdom, right, and like praying to Hylia.
Yeah, the springs. Sorry.
She was like, I mean, it's also just like, I think, spiritually speaking, like they're trying to turn her into a priestess, whereas, and so she needs her daily devotions. She needs to be able. I mean, you need to be like spiritually fluent in order to then wield that kind of authority in that realm. So like, I think she's like, yeah, I'll go to church, but I want to zhuzh it up a little bit and like maybe go to church in Lanayru and like go to all these other places. But also like she is able to like get some of her like scholarly investigations in these trips as well.
Yeah.
Out of the lens of her father and to be able to like still pursue her passions and what she sees as being like a crucial like step in defeating Calamity Ganon. Like, cause she is big picture in a lot of ways. Like she's mostly interested in defeating Calamity Ganon, and that means embracing Sheikah technology and embracing like you know, doing her diligence as a scholarly mind
And, like, investigating, oh, here's the things out in the world that we can forage to aid, you know, and strengthen ourselves, et cetera, et cetera.
The princess, you know, the ruler needs to know their land.
Yeah.
You can't just be in the castle. You've got to travel. You got to be worldly.
Yeah, so let's move along here.
Oh, it's about to get spicy.
So now this is the one at Mount Lanayru.
This was, I think, one of the first ones I found too.
Yeah, I found this one first in this playthrough, I believe.
Because yeah, it's like right outside Kakariko.
Well, don't keep us in suspense.
Yeah, if you continue northeast out of
How'd everything go up there on the
Kakariko
mountain?
Good pull.
via the road, you'll run into this one like right in the middle of the road.
So you didn't feel anything? No power at all?
I'm sorry, no.
Couldn't find the clit.
Then let's move on. You've done all you could. Feeling sorry for yourself won't be of any help. After all, it's not like your last shot was up there on Mount Lanayru. Anything could finally spark the power to seal
We just
Ganon
kind of like
away.
assume she went
just
through the
have to
same
keep
thing here
looking
that she
for
went
that.
through in the Akala Spring.
Right, just like praying in vain.
Kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I may, I thought you, well, I'm not sure how to put this into words. I'm actually quite embarrassed to say it. But I was thinking about what I do when I'm healing. You know, what usually goes through my mind. It helps when I think about...
She thinks about links.
Think about a master sword getting sheathed. Unsheathed. Sheathed again. Oh boy.
Where exactly did Calamity Ganon come?
Well, I'd love to talk about this in a second too.
It's here.
This is it then.
Are you sure?
Positive.
And
It's awake.
it descends immediately upon the castle.
Right. And I just want to kind of absorb this before I put some thoughts on it, but I have a pretty good point to make.
Now,
And I unfortunately have more information than you.
that swirling.
But we're working with the text in front of us.
Yeah. We're just reading the first book.
This needs to be a unified assault. Little guy, you get to Hyrule Castle. You can count on us for support, but it's up to you to pound Ganon into oblivion.
Come, we should go. We need to get you someplace safe.
It's scary because it's like this is the spark of the war. Like this is, you know, Pearl Harbor. Just like, you know, they just got bombed for the first time and now they're figuring out what to do.
And I do think it's really
cool.
the placement of this one being the most likely you're going to run into first.
Yeah. And for some gamers, maybe the only memory they find.
Yeah, and that one at the castle being the one you'll probably come to last is pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you've already gotten King Rome's just like description of what happened,
right?
Probably relatively recently, and now you get shown it in more detail, shown the severity of like, oh wow, we really were scared of this thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts.
I have to say that the general character design of Calamity Ganon, being the swirling pig that's going around Hyrule Castle, is about the same size and kind of a similar design to the dragons, like Farosh, Dinral, Nadra, and
Farosh, Dinral, Nadra.
there's just 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, if you were to see them side by side, about the same size, I would assume you were asking where Calamity Ganon came from. I assume that he came from a portal in the sky. Just as this, like, we talked about this, and you hadn't seen it happen in real time in the game, but when the dragons like leave via the sky, a portal opens up, and then they disappear into it, and then it closes. I think Calamity Ganon came much the same way because, you're doing a great job not talking about Tears of the Kingdom right now. Yeah, I can just see like so much information like bleeding out of your ears. But if I were to just shoot for the hip on this. We've already seen that like Ganon has corrupted the dragons, or at least Nadra, I think, was the.
I believe so. The one over Mount Lanayru is the one that's corrupted.
Yeah, and so we know that Ganon has an interest in the dragons then, because like malice is not just, it's not like a natural, or at least it doesn't seem like it's like just like a naturally occurring thing. It's like it's being deposited and like on key, like, you know, things that Ganon wants to commandeer as it is. So I think I got that out of my system. Is that like, I think Calamity Ganon is in some ways like a corruption of a dragon that has been used to allow Ganon. It's like, I mean, it's still, I might be talking myself into like a wall here, but it's just, it's like we've seen like that Ganon is going to corrupt and do like sinister like replicants of the natural goodness of the world, right? Like, I mean, Sheikah technology is not inherently good. It's a neutral thing, but we've seen that he's like used it to great lengths in order to take over Hyrule Castle. And I think I'm out of ideas now.
I'm just going to smile, nod, and say yes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
100% accurate.
Good. Yeah, I knew it.
And this I don't know that it really does get answered canonically.
Well, I think that's the beauty of these games because like they're not giving us a lot of solid answers on all this stuff. It's all conjecture. Conjecture? What's
conjecture.
The word? Yep.
Yeah, within the text we have here, I don't think we get any explanation for the why or how of the return of Calamity Ganon, other than the Sheikah or not the Sheikah, the Yiga wanted him to come back. Maybe there was some ritual they were doing, but like we don't get shown anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's move along.
Oh, it's hit the fan now.
Yeah.
She's all muddy.
How did it come to this? The divine beasts, the guardians, they've all turned against us. It was Calamity Ganon. It turned them all against us.
There's that guilt setting in. All my ideas about the technology. The AI turned against us. Our Judeo-Christian values did not save us.
Oh man, that sent a chill down my spine.
So sick.
Power. Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing. So I really am just a failure. All my friends.
Brutal.
The entire
This poor
kingdom.
woman.
Yeah.
Father, most of all.
The weight of the world on her.
I tried and I failed them. I left them all to die.
Look at just the sincerity in his eyes. Just taking it in.
It's like he's in a position where he's like he can't just like pat her on the back. You know, like she has to initiate the physical contact, like because he's her subordinate. It's a weird like their relationship is it's tense. There's a tenseness and like my human nature is to console you, but like I have to like keep up like appearances.
Yeah, but I'm just like your knight and your shield. No touching. This is like a private dance. Anyway.
Ooh, Zelda's Awakening.
We're coming down the home stretch here. These are the big ones. The final few left.
Let us know what you think of this type of content, guys, in the comments.
I hope it's working out. I don't know.
I'm having a fun time with this.
I'm having fun with it. I'm just hoping the levels are tracking. The cutscenes might be a little quiet, but
we'll see. Maybe we'll just end this series on a pretty big failure.
Yeah.
Worry about me. Run!
Like Zelda. There it is.
Power of love. And we get only use of Triforce power in the game.
Well, we get some at the end too.
Oh yeah.
Was that the power? No! Link, get up! You're going to be just fine.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah, I don't want to complain.
Don't let me be a bother. There it is. Vi is speaking.
The sword.
It's like the Where's My iPhone app.
Yeah.
He can still be saved.
Princess!
Oh, we got some good ninjas.
Princess, are you all right?
Take Link to the Shrine of Resurrection. If you don't get him there immediately, we are going to lose him forever. Is that clear? So
Is one of those guys supposed to be Robbie,
his
though?
life is now in your hands.
Because he said he brought Link to the Shrine of Resurrection.
I guess. And so is the other assumption that, okay, when we had the scene at the bottom of Mount Lanayru, that was like, everybody go to your posts at your divine beasts.
Yeah.
And then they got there and they were like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this Ganon thing's here, and they all lost.
Like, it's bold of them not to show that part. Because
Yeah.
like that's I mean, I guess that's what happens in the DLC when you go through those like memory fights with the blights. But it skips like the big moments, like the action scenes that you would expect to see. We're seeing the aftermath of the action scenes almost every time.
Right.
The big, what would be in the films, like the big, the end of Return of the King kinds of fights, where it's the armies versus armies, massive CGI mess.
We don't need all that nonsense in Zelda.
No, we need
all the heart is here, man.
We need some humanizing moments,
right?
Dramatic, just like rip the heartstrings right out of you and just make you feel bad for making them go through this.
Yeah, and that is a sort of perfect conclusion to Zelda's experience in her travels with Link, and that one is that's the one you cannot get until you've gotten the others.
Oh, interesting.
I believe is after you've gotten all the others. I think Imp was like, oh, by the way, there's one more.
That's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, oh, I do know her now. So then this one I think is part of the other collection.
There's one thing because I've watched that previous memory a couple times before, just like in like Zelda discourse online, and some people like put forward the idea that like Zelda killed Link with that blast. He like got hit by like the concussion of the like power, and like she's just got that on top of everything else with her guilt.
Jeez. This again, I'm withholding so much I want to say about
yeah,
that
thank you. It's okay.
Let's just watch her bring the gosh darn Master Sword to the Deku Tree.
Woo!
Your master will come for you. Until then, you shall rest safely here. Although the slumber of restoration will most certainly deprive him of his memories, please trust me when I say that I know he will arrive before you yet again.
If I may be so bold, what is it that you are planning to do next?
I love that the forest is like still peaceful and protected while the war is happening.
Yeah, dude. It's it's by design. It's hard to get into the Korok forest.
I heard it speak to me. It seems that my role is unfinished. There is still something I must do.
I sense there is great strength in your dedication.
Great Deku Tree, I ask of you, when he returns, can you please relay this message? Tell him
Now then, words intended for him would sound much better in the tones of your voice, don't you think?
Yes.
I thought that was the end. I was about to pause it.
He's like, yeah, you can't just leave that sword laying there.
I got it. I'll pick it up later.
You got to plug it into the HDMI port.
No. It's a good, wholesome story.
Man, there it is. That's the image of the Master Sword first established in artwork for A Link to the Past. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like a perfect recreation of it. It's so good. Oh, be sure to like and subscribe for more. All right, folks, we just did a lot of commentary there, didn't we? And if you like commentary with us here over at Camp Video Games, you could join us at patreon.com/campvideogames. We have commentary for every episode of the Legend of Zelda animated series, and there's going to be even more. And Josh said he's going to put some Let's Plays on there too.
Yeah, my playthrough of I think I put like pretty much all my story playthrough is on the playlist that I'll send you the link to get on the Patreon.
That'll be dope. So wow, that the story ends with because there's still so much that we should see, that we know that there's more in the story that's happening. There's still blank. I mean, Zelda then goes back to Hyrule Castle to confront Ganon. Like, what's that scene? That's got to be a really important scene.
Yeah. So my assumption is that's the sword told her, like, hey, you have this power that can hold Calamity Ganon long enough for Link and me to restore, we'll come save you.
It's the power of love.
That's what I assume is the unspoken part that we don't get to see, and that she bravely just goes, "Okay, I'm marching into this pig cloud malice thing, and I'm gonna trust what this sword told me."
Yeah. I mean, that's true faith, it's not believing the outcome could be good, but still not believing that there could be like a good outcome, but accepting that things will take care of themselves if you just go by the plan.
Yeah. I mean, this is literally just the Christ story.
Yeah.
That's is,
if you read back in your Bible, Zelda 3:16, for Hylia so loved her only begotten princess that she blah 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 blah. And Austin 3:16.
I mean, it's
drink beer.
She has her apostles. She has her moments of doubt. She has her sacrifice of I'm going to die, trusting that the gods of our world, the faith that I have in them as my ancestors, are going to resurrect me. And then we just have the added thing of Link. I don't know. Link's the Holy Spirit, I guess.
I don't know, man. You're starting to sound a lot like Navy top brass right now.
But seriously, it is just a retelling of the New Testament, basically, or the Gospels.
The Gospel according to Link.
Yeah.
There's man. So it's just we just got a lot of information. We just digested like an hour or more of that Zelda memory stuff.
Yeah, it was 48 minutes.
Okay. But I guess from now, let's get back into gameplay and let's wrap her up. Because not wrap her up as in we're almost done, because we still got Hyrule Castle to talk about, and then we got the fight with Ganon. Spoiler alert: you fight Ganon.
Oh dang!
I'm sorry.
I didn't know that was coming. So, the assumption is we've seen all of that before we go into Hyrule Castle.
Yeah. Well, because there's the memory that you unlock at Hyrule Castle.
Yeah. All but that one memory. And it's also since we're talking about the gameplay, the decision of the design of Hyrule Castle, it's fun, it's cool, but it can really change the way the drama of this finale plays out, because if you're like me, you're sort of I love this game so much, I'm min-maxing, overpowering myself. Also, oops, I discovered the back door and Rivali's galed my way up, and I'm in the Sanctum fighting Ganon. Yeah. You can lose a lot of its power in the way that it's designed, but I do like the openness of it.
Hyrule Castle is a great level. It's a dungeon. Finally we have a pretty proper dungeon. We're exploring ruins. There are enemies crawling around. I mean, we have that scattered throughout to some degree. We've got the ancient ruins and all of that, but like we are in like this is Zelda Prime right now. We are exploring Hyrule Castle. We're fighting moblins. We are dodging guardians. Like this is the Zelda dungeon that a lot of people felt like we didn't get enough of in Breath of the Wild. And in terms of like a final level for the game, like couldn't have asked for a better final level in Breath of the Wild. I mean, okay, looking at Hyrule Castle, like on the map, it's the center of Hyrule. Like everything is like circling around it, and like especially with all the divine beasts with their lasers pointed straight at Hyrule Castle, all of our attention is just like immediately drawn to Hyrule Castle. So we're finally going there. When you step foot into what the map recognizes as like Hyrule Castle area, the sky gets wild. You know what I'm talking about? Like like everything's going fast motion around Hyrule Castle in the sky. It's very like surreal, and like makes everything a little bit more like it gives everything an edge of spookiness. And you see Zelda's like golden light shining. I guess you could say it's Hylia's golden light shining in the middle of the pink pig that's circling the tower. There's you hear little snippets of Zelda's lullaby mixed in with the Hyrule Castle theme.
Dude, the music throughout this dungeon is some of the best in the series.
Inside versus outside music is really fun. Like outside, you've got the grand sweeping orchestral Hyrule Castle theme.
Yeah.
Then you go inside and it gets like spook. It's definitely reminiscent of Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time when you're approaching his castle and you hear the organ playing. It's straight out of Ocarina.
Yeah, and like the way it implements all of those themes. Zelda's Lullaby, Ganon's theme, the Hyrule Castle theme, I believe, is also in there. And it's done, and then there's like these added horns on top of it that make it like you feel this triumphant march to the end. It's like, gall darn it, you nailed it.
Yeah. In cinema, they say that like sound is 60% of the experience.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's almost like it's like 80%. It's like so powerful, the music and the way it shifts environmentally, and it just really propels you to feel like you're in a heroic, like life-changing moment. It's extremely, extremely effective use of music.
I'm gonna.
Are you about to speculate?
No, I want to bring in Tears of the Kingdom. There's
Go
a
ahead,
little
go
bit
ahead,
I want
go
to say
ahead.
about Tears of the Kingdom.
You've been so good.
At the
Go
very
ahead.
end, I just maybe want to throw in some spoiler-free review, if I may. So let's keep talking about the dungeon and kind of that experience and the ending here. So back to like how you can go different ways. I do love it, but like I feel like the sort of canonical way to approach it is just like march through the front door, go through all the gates, and like wind the switchbacks like up the road and all that. But you got to go in like the basement and explore all that stuff because
so much.
You got to get the Hylian shield, you got to get that extra armor. Like that they make it just a place to explore and have fun in is also very cool.
Absolutely.
Did you mess with Zelda's diary, and did you find Zelda's bedroom?
Not in this playthrough. I have before, but I'll get to why in a little bit, but I did not in this playthrough.
Okay, so that is where the like canonical order of the memories that we just watched comes from.
Cool.
I just like pieced together because I was like, oh, I wonder if we should review like what is in Zelda's diary, because like you find her bedroom and there's a lot of diary entries, and they each reflect on the memories.
Cool.
And page by page, that's how you know where the memories
Nice.
happened in time. So we don't need to like go through the transcripts of it because they kind of review what we just already saw. But it's a very nice like final topping because you've probably, I think that one on the bridge is like leading to her bedroom. The one we said you're probably going to find last.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, here's the diary that lays out the timeline
Man,
of what
that's
she
such a
went
brutal
through.
scene.
Yeah.
I like especially because we've only known the king as like a helpful ghost.
Yeah.
In some ways, but to see him be so stern and like domineering and like it's coming from a place of love and he's like concerned about the kingdom, but he's also like not a really great communicator as a father and like he needs to be a bit more emotionally like receptive to Zelda and that scene's just gut wrenching.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? If you climb to the very, very tippy top of the tower, you get a Korok.
Oh God, I've been looking for that one. Okay. Lots of high level enemies walking through Hyrule Castle. Let's start and just talk about like, you approach Hyrule Castle. There are guardians everywhere. I mean, it's just like you're not supposed to fight this many guardians. As the memories have made it clear, they'll kill you. You've got turret guardians, you got drone flying guardians, you got the crawly guys, you got the whole mix of them interspersed with like the high level Lizalfos. I was in a hallway just like inside the castle, and just like it's a narrow hallway. These like white and black Lizalfos with bomb arrows in like the smallest space. It's just fun. It's fun. It's like you don't have that many tight spaces in Breath of the Wild, right? Like, I mean, I guess like the Divine Beasts are a little bit, but like in terms of combat, you're usually in pretty wide open spaces, and to be in these like little clustered areas, and then like then you hear the bomb arrow, and you're like, how am I supposed to deal with this? It's great. It's really fun. I love the challenge. I like challenging video games. I like when I've gotten used to maybe a specific rhythm, and then it's completely like changed on me. Hyrule Castle does a great job of like really testing your combat skills.
Or if you're like me, your almost navigation and stealth skills.
Yeah, cool.
Because I just for funsies this playthrough, I went and I beat the game before I got the last Divine Beast, just to be like, what's the Ganon fight like if you don't have all the Divine Beasts done. So I kind of know the castle pretty well after playing the game so much. So there's like a western entrance where you can bomb a minecart that takes you somewhere, and then it's just like I like Rivali's Gale up to Zelda's bedroom, one more Rivali's Gale. I maybe faced a guardian turret or two, and then I was in the Sanctum fighting.
Nice. I walked into the Sanctum on accident, and that's why because I was playing it last night, for the final gaming session for this series, and I had done some explorations. I saw like the library, I saw the dining hall. I got the Hylian shield from the Stalnox in the dungeon, which is fun. That's a fun thing to come across because, like, especially inside to like fight like a mini boss like that, it's a nice change of pace again. Like everything's outside in Breath of the Wild, and to like be in a dungeon and to like have these stone walls around you as you're fighting a big enemies, it's fun. It's a nice change of pace. Let's see. In the dining hall, one of my favorite areas in the castle, honestly. I love food in general. I'm always, but there's some fun hidden weapons throughout the castle.
Yeah.
If you just like, here's a tip in general for you campers out there. When you're looking for items in general, like just walk into a room or walk into an area, turn on your magnesis. Turn on the magnesis rune, and you'll see any metallic items, obviously. But also, if you just turn on the stasis, you'll see any items that can be like manipulated, and it's like immediately you can just like see the full layout of like what's available for you in a room.
Yeah.
It's a great way to just get a quick assessment, so you're not wasting too much time just like going around. But yeah, Magnesis, some weapons that are hidden in the chandeliers and hidden in the fireplaces that you wouldn't typically see.
This is the area of the game that you kind of really need to use that skill to find everything.
Yeah, because there's the best part for a lot of gamers, high level weapons scattered all throughout Hyrule Castle. You got the Royal Guard weapons, and there's like the all black weapons that were like those are the top tier, I think.
Yeah, there's like the only one I got, because I sort of
you probably had a full inventory,
speed ran through and had a full inventory of stuff. Was there's like, I forget the name of it, like the royal bow. It's hanging above like the mantle in Zelda's bedroom.
Yeah, nice.
So again, you got to kind of like look around, and it's like a 50 attack bow or something like that.
There's some fun Lionel fights in the towers as you're progressing your way up, because like really just as you said, like it's all about ascending this mountain of a castle to get to the top. I didn't reference the map very much when I was in Hyrule Castle, also just because, again, like I accidentally went right to the end. Like, the castle map, it's like a Divine Beasts in that it's a 3-dimensional map that you can like turn around and like look at it from other angles. I'm ready to get to the Sanctum if you're down.
That's pretty much it for me. Is like that feeling of ascent, and like the way the music plays it into it is like very, very well done. Is it the best it can be done? I don't know.
Maybe Tears of the Kingdom did it better. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. So yeah, let's talk about getting to the Sanctum. Like, it's very odd the way it's like, oops, here's the final boss.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love this. I love when you can enter like the most important moment of Link's life, and it's just like, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Like there's no pomp and circumstance. It's just like, and here we are.
Yeah.
It's like how life actually happens. There's never going to be a flurry of trumpets before you say the like life defining quote of your life. It's just going to happen, and people are like, huh, that's kind of, yeah.
Oh yeah, here we are.
And you enter the Sanctum, right? And like the only thing that's kind of off, like if you're not paying close attention, is in the ceiling. You can see the outline of this. Like right before you enter the real threshold of the Sanctum, you'll see just a little something pulsating, and it's this like it's like a cocoon sack. It's so gross. It's like imbued with corrupt Sheikah technology. It's just this gross like pulsing cybernetic like crime against nature. I mean, really, like that's what Ganon is at the end of the day, is that he's just like I don't know. There's a whole lot of different interpretations, I suppose, you could take out of like what Ganon's role in the bigger picture of Hyrule is. If it's like he's more like, no, we need to return to the natural order and stop embracing all this technology that the Sheikah are doing. The Sheikah say that their sole purpose is to combat Calamity Ganon, but like, is Ganon really like in Princess Mononoke? Is he like the Earth saying like, hey, stop it, like? Stop it. Stop. You don't need laser chainsaws. Like, stop it. We just need pigs.
Yeah.
And like we need the return to the natural order. But there's this just gross cocoon, and then right next to it we see a Triforce. And if you look closely enough at it, I didn't notice this organically. It was pointed out to me, but in the Sanctum, the Triforce that's hanging up next to the cocoon, there's like these little what turns out to be is musical scale that if you look at it, it's Zelda's lullaby melody as it appears in Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
Like, I don't know if you can see like C left, C up, C right, or whatever it is, but like it's the same like placement on the scale, which is a wonderful little touch. So Link approaches the cocoon, and Zelda speaks to him. She says, "I'm sorry, I can't hold it any longer." And then a guardian laser like blasts out of the cocoon, and then we're seeing the birth of a monster that's just been like gestating and like waiting for this moment. It seems like that's like Calamity Ganon.
Yes. However,
yeah.
if you did not finish all the divine beasts, you will first be confronted by the Blight Ganon of any divine beasts you did not finish.
Right. Yeah.
So I had not done the Fire Blight Ganon fight. So like, I'm reviewing my footage because it's been a minute.
Oh hell yeah.
So I entered the sanctum and this. Okay, so you do see the sack and they form in front of you like one at a time.
Okay.
I believe if you haven't fought them already. Then it goes into what?
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you brought that up because we're playing after having beat all the divine beasts here, and yeah, this monstrous like spider demon robot like spills out and it breaks the floor, and then Link and what's called the Scourge of Hyrule, Calamity Ganon, they're in like what looks like to be like a Sheikah shrine chamber. There's like what's it called? Stars making a pattern.
They're like the constellation patterns that you're used to in the shrines.
Thank you. There's constellations on the wall, which is interesting because if they're in a sanctum and it's like an observatory kind of area, so their eyes are skyward.
And Link casually just glides in on his paraglider, following behind.
He's so tough. You want to give some description of what Calamity Ganon looks like here? He's asymmetrical, which is an important thing because like all the other natural creatures tend to have some semblance of symmetry to them, whereas like this is an unnatural thing.
Yeah, I think the asymmetry is like the most important detail. It's almost like the closest analogy within the Zelda world is like a Skulltula.
Yeah.
Because he's got all these extra limbs for weapons, and he's wielding some like weapons that are kind of glowing like Sheikah weapons. It's hard to find like a good still like full shot of him. In my footy over here, and he has some of the like, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the indicators of like a Ganon design, because the face is like purely like human skull like, but then it has the very Ganon-esque and derived now from like Demise and Skyward Sword that we realize is sort of manifested into each Ganon, the like streams of red, almost like
it's like mane,
almost like Super Saiyan mane type thing.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it up, Super Saiyans, because he's this is not even his final form.
Yeah.
Ganon is like Ganondorf is a human.
Yeah.
Ganon is his like evil spirit entity, but like Demise is to Ganon as Hylia is to Zelda. Right? Like they are both like, you could say Ganon's cursed, whereas Zelda is blessed.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same, like, reincarnation cycle. They are imbued with these specific powers, and like, and Link is to Link as Link is to Link.
Yeah. And so, it's almost like he has these like sort of like corrupted Sheikah weapons. He also has two guardian legs. So it's like he's just sort of like corrupted all of the tech that they thought was going to defend them to make this monstrosity body.
He's like the best and worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
Corruption of technology seems to be Ganon's, like that was his trump card for this war, is that everything else would have gone to script. The Impa story would just like have repeated over and over again 10,000 years ago. Bullshit. And then like Ganon's like, I've heard this one. Like, let's change it up. And then he had like Hyrule Castle thought it had a weapon when it turns out they had a liability.
Yeah.
Rivali, Mifa, Daruk, Urbosa, they are ready to press the button. Like they're like, okay, our boys in position, like fire at will. And blue laser blasts, just massive. It's like Death Star blue. Like, I mean, it would have to be green, but like, just these, like, what? How powerful is this shit? It's crazy. Like, how does it not vaporize Ganon? These like massive blasts.
Well, this is the big critique I think a lot of people have about this as a final boss, is that like, if you just played the game like as sort of intended, you get to the final boss, you go, oh, he's half dead already.
Yeah.
He starts with his health bar half empty if you've just gone through and freed all the divine beasts.
Or if you're an optimist, his health is half full.
Well said. Well said.
But
and as I'm like watching my fight with him, I don't know. I mean, I've played how many thousands of hours of video games since I was 5 years old. Like, so maybe I'm not the best judge of this, but I'm like, and I've played this 3 times. But like, I'm rewatching my fight. I'm like, man, the windows for Flurry Rush they're pretty wide.
They're so telegraphed.
It's not super difficult.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up, before we move away from the divine beasts, laser blasts, spiritually speaking, oh, no pun intended, it's a spirit bomb. They get hit, like they hit him with a spirit bomb, through the power of all the people contributing, and like give your part so the hero can finish the job.
Yeah,
it's very, very much a spirit bomb kind of vibe, where you get to have everybody rally behind the hero. It's very encouraging, and it's like it's low hanging fruit if you want to get people like emotionally invested in what's going on here.
Yeah. What was my other thing I was going to say about Calamity Ganon fighting? Never mind. Go on.
Oh, I mean, the fight itself, like, I mean, it seems you've got these like widely telegraphed, spots for Flurry, but also, he's got a Guardian laser on what looks like a Buster gun straight out of Mega Man. You deflect a laser, it goes back at him, and that opens him up for some melee combat. And it's like all of these Blight, like all of the Ganon Blight fights, like it's not the best part of the game at all.
No.
Like visually speaking, not really. Like gameplay speaking, there's sometimes some fun you can have with it, but this one's pretty unremarkable compared to... I really wish they had pulled out something completely different for this type of fight, but I suppose they do in the next phase of the Ganon fight.
Now, I do remember what I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah.
This is just a fun little personal story with this, is that... so my brother-in-law has... just played, basically he played through most of Breath of the Wild like for his kids. They're 7 and 4 years old, 6 and 4 years old. And my sister called me on FaceTime when they were fighting Calamity Ganon, and the reason I thought about it is because he was like, he's on the phone, like he's sitting there playing, yelling at me over FaceTime. He's like, what do I do? Like he's does not have the game experience that I do. So it's like, okay, there is a challenge here. And he's played it the whole time, because my 6-year-old nephew, like when he would try to play, he would get like too frustrated. Like whenever any fight happened, he'd like get like frustrated and nervous and like couldn't really handle it. But like the kids were just like running around the room going wild.
Yeah.
It was so good.
That's so, I love that, like, your role in the family is like tech support for video games. You're like Microchip from Punisher, who's like, I'm in the van, you're in the van giving the Punisher like, hold on, let me run that through I'm gonna hack the system.
Yeah, but it's like, in that regard, it's like the spectacle does work, for the intended audience.
Yeah.
It's so funny. My 4-year-old niece kept running, screaming in the background about like we need to get the Master Shield.
Oh,
which is funny,
bless her.
Like she knew all about the Master Sword, but I I don't like. She had no idea. There's like, yeah, there is actually kind of a master shield hidden in the basement. I was trying to. I was like, oh no, if you go to the basement, you can get this shield. That's kind of the master shield.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're too far now.
That's so great. Oh, I love that your family like had that as like a family moment too. That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Video games rule, dude. Like they're so good for building relationships. Don't let them get in the way of relationships because they can do that just as easily. But they're so good. I mean, look at us.
It's funny. Like that's kind of like my two sisters like have this like different approach now that they have kids that are gaming age, and that one was like we do it as a family. She was like, oh. Like her thinking was, oh, if we get a Switch, we can do it on the TV. So now we're actually monitoring what the kids are doing with their screen time, and we can engage in it with them.
Yeah.
Instead of just like handing them the iPad and being like, go be a zombie. Whereas my other sister
go disassociate. Go ahead.
has like a video game room that like the boys they go into, and she used to be more strict about like their time on it.
Sure.
And she'd try to do all the parental controls, and like they still try that, but they're like So now it's like some days like the boys will just go in and she doesn't engage with what they're doing at all. They're usually playing Minecraft,
sure,
which is just like I don't know.
It's a really important game to like younger people. Like it's got to be the most successful game at this point.
It is a huge game, but it does not have like the narrative draw, you know.
No, it has no narrative really. I mean, you can apply it to it. They've tried that with like quests for Minecraft, but Minecraft is like, I mean, it's like almost like a unifying game for I don't know, ages like 6 to 12.
Yeah. All I know is I can't stand it, and
like, I love Minecraft.
But they'll go in and they'll come back out. And they've just sat in the dark alone playing, and they come out like zombies.
Yeah,
you know, and they're cranky, and like that's how I was growing up. It's like if I got a really good window to play, it was good for me to escape from the horrors of like how miserable my childhood, like bully situation was or whatever, but like I'd come out cranky and zombie like because my parents were like, I don't know, it keeps them quiet.
But if you make it a family thing, then everybody's interacting. You're building some core memories for the kids, and like giving some common ground. So like mom and dad can talk about like, wasn't that great when Link fought Ganon? And like they know what they're talking, and they're not just like, how's your Pokemons today, honey? Yeah, like So
I'm all about like engaging with it in that way, and with like my two nephews, the ones who sort of go off and become zombies, I've been slowly over the course of like a year playing through Chrono Trigger with them.
Oh, sick.
And they don't even like to, like I tried to like hand over. We've been playing it on my iPad just because it's like where I have it most accessible.
Is that a good port?
No.
Okay. Noted.
Very bad.
Yeah.
Do not play it.
I won't.
Just replay the original SNES emulated is the best unless you have the original cart. And like...
No, I'm not a millionaire.
Right. I sold my copy to pay for medical bills, and I got just the cart, nothing else, no box, no nothing. I sold it for $100.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you had to do that.
I know, it sucks. But anyway, that experience is like I was saying way earlier in this like 3-hour podcast.
We're setting a record. It's okay.
I'm like, oh my God, I like... can never have that experience of playing Tears of the Kingdom for the first time again. Like playing Chrono Trigger with them, I'm like, it's not quite the same, but it's really darn close.
Yeah. That's great. With my nephews, video games have become a really fun unifying factor for us too, where, we like to play old, like, we would play, what's it called? Blades of Steel, like a hockey NES game.
Yeah.
And one of the very first video games one of my nephews ever played was the Super Star Wars, which is not a great first game for a kid to play because it's like brutally hard.
Yeah, those are hard.
Shocker, we like video games, and it's good to share them, and it's good to find common grounds with people through them. Yeah, and I hope that we can do that for you too.
Anyway,
Campers.
Anything else about Calamity Ganon?
Yeah. So after you like you strike the final blow, like. Really, I have to insist that like not a very fun boss fight for me. It is what it is though. I hate saying it like that, but once you got Calamity Ganon defeated, there's some malice oozing out of him, and then there's an explosion.
Yeah. He does have a great like the malice spewing is like the blood of like the angels in Evangelion.
Nice. I
just
know
like
exactly
the massive spew. I love it.
It's so good. And we also see something quite like that in Princess Mononoke with the corrupted warthog at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean clearly lots of Ghibli influence here. Yeah. That's also like in Spirited Away. You have the spirits that are like covered in that malice like goo.
I need
and
to
the
rewatch
bathhouse's
that.
job is to like wash it away.
Okay. I was way too high when I watched that movie, so I don't remember Spirited Away very well. Then, okay, so you've defeated this weird, gross robot, and Zelda's magic transports Link out of the observatory or whatever that place was under the sanctum, and we're out in Hyrule Field now. This is a cool... It's cool in some ways, but like looking at my hero's path as I was playing, like there's a huge part of Hyrule Field that I just didn't even bother like exploring because it's just like it seems to be like non-space. What is that? Liminal space?
Yeah.
And then now we see what it's actually there for. It's for this fight with Dark Beast Ganon. And yeah, he's no longer mechanical. Now it's like it seems to be like calcified malice is how I would describe what like Dark Beast Ganon looks like it's made out of, because it's not furry. It's not just a giant pig. It's like a little stony looking. It's like wet and gross and dark black with like some like just like ooze and
it's like a kind of like this combination of like every final form of Ganon we've seen up to this point in other games.
Man, I remember the first time playing Ocarina of Time when you've defeated Ganondorf and then he, gets all Super Shredder on you.
Yeah.
That was like, that blew my mind. I was like, no, we just killed the boss. What do you mean he's bigger now? Like it was the first time that trope really like sunk in for me that like, it's not the final form.
Yeah. And this is, pre-localization of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Which, is like the epitome of shonen anime. That's not my final form.
Yeah. We're in order to get stronger, you just need to be constipated, it sounds like.
The Frieza, Frieza is a foundational character in
so much popular media is forever indebted to that little white punk.
To those dozens of episodes that were stretched out to let the manga catch up to the series.
I love it. I love Dragon Ball Z so much. It is just such fun. It's not Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Okay. The Bow of Light. It appears in front of Link, and it's obvious that you want to pick that up. And it's got unlimited light arrows, which are extremely powerful. I think its base power is 100.
Yes. Yeah.
And the bow itself is a unique design. You don't see anything like that in the game. It's really quite like straight. It's a weird design for a bow, but it's apparently a holy relic, so it's more like, function over form. You get on a horse and you're shooting these like Triforce runes that kind of appear on Ganon's flanks. And this is what Zelda's doing. It seems like she's like creating a weak spot for Link to then be able to attack.
Yeah.
So this is where it's like important that Zelda has her sealing magic in conjunction with there being a hero. And this is like, it's like you're boarding a divine beast. Dark Beast Ganon is about the same size to scale as like what a divine beast is. Which also then I love the idea of like, why were the divine beasts built? Like they were built to fight Calamity Ganon, and this form might have come up before. And so they knew that like, we need to build a kaiju to fight this kaiju.
Yeah.
Like, we need Mecha Godzilla to fight Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which is really fun just to like think about, because
the kaiju battle concept. then between this game, Tears of the Kingdom, maybe a little less so, but then and Final Fantasy 16 having come out this last month.
Oh, you've been treated.
I've been just treats of kaiju battles, you know. Love it.
So yeah, Ganon's attacks create updrafts. It's like shooting like mad. I think it's a like pink laser at you.
Yeah.
And the laser catches the grass on fire.
Yeah, attacks is a strong word for what happens in this fight.
It's like it almost feels like that Ganon doesn't know you're there. He's just like raging.
He's just wilding out. He is a pure what's the word for it? Just like a pure berserker beast.
Yeah, it's on a rage. And okay, so yeah, Ganon's attacks create updrafts, and basically, if Ganon was not attacking, Link would not be able to defeat him. And I think that's an important like message that they're bringing here. It's like the Buddhist proverb: hate is like grasping onto a hot coal. The longer you hold on to it, the more it hurts you. And that's really relevant thinking about Ganon. Like, his hatred is what propels him, and it's also what defeats him every time. If Ganon only accepted the Lord Jesus Christ into his heart, then he would be, he wouldn't be getting attacked all the time. But okay, so I've shot, Link's shot the Triforce runes that are appearing on Ganon's sides, and then a massive malice eye protrudes, and it's his third eye. This is right on his forehead. This is the spiritual eye of Ganon, and you shoot it and you win. It's one of the most disappointing parts that I could think of the game, specifically because what's the point of the Master Sword?
Yeah,
right. Like,
there was this light bow the whole time.
Shouldn't I be doing the finishing blow with the Master Sword? Like that really rubbed me the wrong way.
So
it's true to the original games.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think there's a lot of like Deus Ex Machina spectacle for the sake of spectacle in this fight. Like, it did not need to exist. But that's like the way it sort of correlates with the original game is like, oh, you have to weaken him with the Master Sword in that first fight, and then you have to use the Bow of Light to finish him off, which is what you have to do. You have to use the silver arrows to finish him off in the first game. That works. But like, there is this like sense of you get there, and even if you've gone through all those memories we just went through, the Zelda's power thing kind of makes sense, but this like, oh, by the way, here's the Bow of Light. You're like, what? There was a Bow of Light?
There's been no mention of this. It is completely out of left field, and it's also not necessary because you can just use ancient arrows instead of the golden
that's funny.
arrows. Yeah. I didn't do this playthrough, but I will say I did finally use some ancient arrows on some Lionels as I was trying to, get through Hyrule Castle. There's parts where I was like, I don't need any more gear. I don't need to like fight this guy properly. I'm just going to shoot him with an ancient arrow.
Yeah, but that final shot into the eye is what like releases Zelda from her like
psychic stasis battle.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So that like she now back in her corporeal form can deliver the final blow. To demolish.
This is it's extremely cinematic. Like, this part is like, it's a lot of fun to watch. But basically it seems what happens is Zelda does like an exorcism with the Triforce. The golden light like repels. What happens to Ganon after when Zelda does all this? If you're watching the footage,
basically what you're saying is that he sort of returns to Calamity form, and she is blasting a giant sphere of her Triforce power, like a spirit bomb again, and it envelops the entire Calamity-ness thing, the thing that you think is like kind of like the dragons, and then it snaps it back and it's gone.
Nice.
And then you get what I love the way they do this. That little shing,
Yes.
and it's like you've completed this quest.
Destroy Ganon. Complete.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
took
love
a note of that. I loved it.
that they do that. Like in the middle of the cinematic moment, it's like checks off your checklist.
It's just like dopamine released.
It's like could be so distracting if the game was more focused on like where like people are comparing Final Fantasy 16 to like it's trying to be like HBO like prestige TV,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like this is not forgetting that it's a video game, you know.
That's good. Well put. I like that.
Because they're not prestige TV, and even prestige TV is not that great. There's only one Sopranos and one Succession and one like if you're a Game of Thrones person, one of those.
Yeah,
and that's about it. The rest of it's not that good. And Mad Men.
Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more Game of Thrones stuff coming out.
Yeah.
It's just like, it is like I mean, what whole other topic.
And like video games are not up to the task of doing that in the same way.
Yeah. Keep your peanut butter out of my chocolate.
When they're honest to what they are, I think they are just as good. Let's keep going with this. I still want to.
Yeah. That's like that's such a great way to be like, and you did it. Like even though it might not have felt that hard to do to fight and defeat Ganon, like the checklist is checked, and you are now like you get to have that little feeling of accomplishment that video games trick us into thinking we're actually doing things.
Yeah.
But emotionally speaking, it's incredibly rewarding. Then, like, we've seen all these memories of Zelda and Link together, but like, and then finally, in real time, Zelda and Link reunite, and depending on how you played the game, will depend on the rest of what happens here, because if you didn't get every memory. Zelda is basically going to be like, do you know who I am? Basically, and then you're left with kind of like an empty feeling of
and then fade to black, back to that same tiny, confident text. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Chef's kiss.
Yes! Oh my God. I love it.
Bro, we did it. Like we just man, that we saved Hyrule.
Like people think, I think people complain about the ending of this game a little bit, and there's still more ending, but like that goes to rolling the credits. The rest is post credits. That like the true like the ending, the post you finish the bad guy, your ending you get before credits roll is like literally like 30 seconds of her being like, Link, we did it, but do you remember me? And then this confident title screen.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And people are like, because a lot of other Zelda games were very iconic in that their endings. Like I love the ending of Link to the Past.
Yeah.
That shows you these vignettes of all the people you've met. Mm-hmm. But this is not that game. This game has been about the relationship between these two people in this empty post-apocalyptic
Yes.
world.
They're survivors of a great calamity, and now it's time to rebuild Hyrule.
Yeah.
The good ending for the game has Link and Zelda walking through Hyrule, and Zelda's got the Sheikah slate now because it's her Sheikah slate. Like I think that's funny that she'd be like, I'm gonna need that back. Like, give me the Wii U, kid. Like it's mine. I need it. But assumably that means Zelda now has control of Cryonis, stasis, bombs, and all that, because those are Sheikah slate techniques. Mm-hmm. So she's like, Link, give me all of your magic, basically. Then Zelda gets word that one of the divine beasts is acting up, and they need to go investigate it. So that what they're setting you up for is that like Link and Zelda are now like. It's not like Zelda is like, and now I'm going to go sit in the ruins of Hyrule Castle and pretend to be in charge again. It's like, no, she's going to continue. She's a scholar. She's a scientist. She wants to solve problems, and she wants to use her brain and not her crown. And it's really like, it's indicative of like a strong character who's like she's being true to herself in what they're doing, which is important for everyone to take those types of lessons to heart. Like, stay true to yourself.
And we do get post credits. Pre that scene is when we get the ghosts overlooking them.
That's right.
It appears they're like that's still like very just like post fight because Zelda's still in her gown. Link's still. I don't know if he's wearing what you have on at the end of the battle, because we were discussing this, I was rewatching my footage of the battle, and actually halfway through I changed my outfit to be more canonical.
I love it.
Just in case.
God, you make me so happy
because I didn't want my footage.
I do that all the time. Because you don't want to have this silly cutscene with them wearing like barbarian armor.
Exactly. I didn't want the footage to be me in the phantom armor, I think is what I was wearing. So just in case, I changed back. So I don't know if this scene shows what you're wearing or not, because he has the Master Sword and the Bow of Light in the
Champion's tunic.
Yeah. And I put on the Champion's tunic and the Hylian trousers and took off the hood.
Oh man, I love the hood. I love the aesthetic of the hood. So I ended up actually wearing the Hylian garb for most of the game, because I'm not that dedicated to getting the best armor or anything like that.
Well, did you notice if like in the ending, in these scenes, was he still wearing it?
I believe so, but I might have been completely like just mystified by everything else going on, that it didn't. I didn't pay attention to that specifically. But
well, somebody correct us if we're wrong.
What else? Looking at like what this means for Hyrule, right? Like I think you could look at Hyrule. Okay, so at the time of recording, like the Oppenheimer biopic just came out, and so everyone's like revisiting the horror that Japan went through at the hands of the United States military at the end of World War II, and when the bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it didn't kill everybody. There were people still going around collecting the dead, having mass funeral pyres. Like, people that were dying slowly of radiation poisoning were still trying to like take care of everyone. And like, I see Link and Zelda, like it's been 100 years since the bomb dropped in Hyrule, basically. And now, like, the radioactive half-life has finally expired. And now they're able to actually start building. Like, with Calamity Ganon eradicated, like, that's like, this is what's supposed to be the golden era again, to some degree, for like in Hyrule's history. Like, okay, we've purged the evil. Like, ideally things should go back to like quote unquote normal. Of course, a sequel has to happen, but you know what I mean?
I'm almost like, just shut up and go get Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. That's literally like, after we press like pause on the recording, I'm out of here. Like, but yeah, the reconstruction of Hyrule is about to happen properly. It's not going to be it's not going to be. I
want
to
like
make
page turn and we're in paradise. Yeah,
I would like to assume, but I don't know if this is true. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, just like straight out. I'm going to assume that by defeating Ganon, the Blood Moon cycle is like stopping, or that like the monster revitalization will not be as strong. But I don't know. I just assume that things are going to be a lot better for the average Hylian now. And they're going to get to meet their long lost princess. Like, this is wild. Like, I'd love to see the reunion of Zelda and Impa, and like seeing all these people that like knew each other, like, Pura and Robbie and Impa and
Coco.
Coco does not know Zelda.
You don't know that.
Well, actually, one of the first spoilers that I got of Tears of the Kingdom was you just texting me being like, Coco's in Tears of the Kingdom.
She's all grown up.
And I was like, you bastard. But like, dudes, we just beat Breath of the Wild. I would love to get a accurate like idea of how many hours we've talked about it now. But this is like the conclusion to an 8-part series on Breath of the Wild, which is wild to me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and this is running at we're at 3 hours. I love it.
The seat's comfortable. I can
Before
stay
we
here all
get
day.
to like wrapping, I do just like want to how can I talk about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in a completely non-spoiler way, like that sort of summarizes the experience of both. And like, I don't know, I'm in this weird emotional space of like now having like so detailed, critically revisited Breath of the Wild at the same time that I was experiencing Tears of the Kingdom for the first time, that you're gonna go play almost immediately after this. That like comparing the endings, like I'll just say like what Tears of the Kingdom does is like any little critique we had throughout this, it's almost like they heard it and they fixed it.
I believe that. Nintendo, like, you know what? Like, let's join the cult of Nintendo. Like, let's drink the Kool-Aid. Like, I am all about like Nintendo as being like one of the greatest like entertainment companies in history. They have not only like kept the video game industry alive, they've made it relevant over and over again in such and without being the best like hardware in the game. It's all about design. Yes. It's all about intentionality and being true to like an artistic vision. And like Nintendo is just the best at it.
I've been holding on to this thought for like 45 minutes since you said the thing about like music being like 80% of the whatever. So like there's all the like online discourse right now is like game of the year. Is it Final Fantasy 16 or is it Tears of the Kingdom? I'm like, Tears of the mother effing kingdom, you morons, you simpletons. I'm having a lot of fun playing Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
But like it's not a piece of art that like people are going to be looking at as like 30, 40, 50 years from now, whatever. Like this did something in like video game development, in art, and like as I was finishing Tears of the Kingdom, I was thinking about how like people talk about like they're so enamored by the story of Final Fantasy 16 because they're simpletons who are caught up in the Game of Thronesification of it. This desire of like, we want video games to be the same as prestige TV.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a very, very wordy game. Just people talking. Like they don't shut the fuck up. And like
Link rules because he doesn't say a fucking word.
Right.
Man.
And like I have experienced through Tears of the Kingdom so much more rich storytelling and depth because they use tools other than just words to tell the story.
We can say the same about Breath of the Wild.
And like you brought up the hardware itself, that my Nintendo Switch running Tears of the Kingdom is using 1/1,000,000th the number of polygons as Final Fantasy 16. And oh boy, am I so much more visually drawn into it. And the like I was telling you, I think last week or the week within the last couple of weeks, how much I am enjoying like the big dumb anime kaiju battle spectacle of Final Fantasy 16. That it's like, wow, they're capturing some really fun stuff here. The finale of Tears of the Kingdom, again, because it uses all of its tools instead of just like words and graphics. I was like, nope, this put it all to shame. I was bawling my eyes out at the end.
I'm so excited. I need to cry. I need a good cry.
And like it did it through refining a lot of things we just critiqued about how Breath of the Wild wrapped up, I think
the next time I'm going to cry is actually when I see how long it's going to take to upload this episode.
Yeah, when I have to like figure out how to clear out space on hard drives to make the file fit and like upload everywhere.
Yeah. Campers, good golly. We're done with Breath of the Wild. I had like this strange moment last night when I beat the game when I realized like I think I'm going to finally take this cartridge out of my Switch. Like I haven't taken it out for such a long time. I'm a physical media guy. I like to buy Games and like have them and then lose them or sell them or whatever. But it's like a weird moment because like anything else that I'd be playing on my Switch would typically be like through the Nintendo Switch Online, playing something N64, SNES, NES, Sega, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy. All that stuff is more casual. But like when I put a cartridge into it or whatever we call them now, are they just?
They're literally just SD cards.
Yeah, when I put
so it's kind of disappointing in a way. I don't know.
But when I
took so little, anyway.
When I put a new one in, I'm like, okay, like because like the last game that I played like too much of on my Switch was the Switch port of Skyrim, and I'd like put Skyrim in, and then it would just like stay there.
Yeah.
And yeah, the same thing with Breath of the Wild, where it's like, no, this is I bought the Nintendo Switch to play Breath of the Wild. Like that was the reason I bought it. Like Nintendo, that, like you've paid attention to like what moves your consoles, and it's usually a new Zelda game. And I'm so grateful that we got 2 good Zelda games on this generation. Like the Switch, if they had just released Breath of the Wild and then they waited for the next generation of consoles to do Tears of the Kingdom, I think that would have rubbed some people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Especially since, like, I think the most critical I've heard people talk about Tears of the Kingdom is calling it DLC, basically, for Breath of the Wild.
People are morons. Well, they're still of course they're morons. After release.
But having what seems to Josh seems to be like 2 of his favorite games of all time happening on this generation of Switch of Nintendo like hardware. I feel very lucky for that. And it made the purchase of my Switch completely justified.
Yeah. I mean, I bought 2 Switches at this point because I wanted another one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, like to get like woo woo, I don't know, like finishing Tears of the Kingdom the other night was like, it was like doing like inner child healing work.
Oh my God, I need some of that too.
It was wild. And like I'm literally like emotionally drained and like a little depressed. Like, and I, for better or worse, like throwing this on top of it is like, I don't know if it's helping, making it worse or what, but like it's odd. Like now I'm like staring down the barrel of like, how do you carry the like this magic of these worlds that are built by adults, like into your day-to-day life and like still enjoy life outside of these escapist worlds.
Yeah. It's all about finding a healthy balance.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about here at Camp Video Games. We're not indoor kids here. We play our video games outside.
Yeah.
Campers, thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a wonderful time going through Breath of the Wild and the Legend of Zelda animated series. It's going to be we're going to do a couple standalones to follow up as we release more episodes. And I'm not looking at the publishing order of our Zelda episodes right now, but this might be the last Zelda episode we upload, but also the last cartoon episode might be the last Zelda episode we upload. But I guess it's really up to me at the end. But sausage is made publicly, so we know what's inside it.
Yep.
And thank you for hanging out. Thank you for your feedback and for all of the support we've gotten. And more to come from here over at Camp Video Games, where we got lots of other fun stuff to look at.
Woo! Yeah, we do. I guess I gotta go outside now. I gotta go touch grass.
Yeah. It can't just be pixelated.
Yeah.
You guys were great. Thanks for hanging out.
If you'd like to write to us, send a message to campvideogames@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at Camp Video Games. If you want to become a real happy camper, you can support Camp Video Games on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll be granted access to even more discussions about movie-based video games, game-based movies, full-length commentaries, playthroughs, and more. Whether you sign up or not, we're glad to have you here at Camp Video Games.